The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to week 3 of 4 for the quarterfinals of the IPA Freesports Champions Cup 2018. Coming to you live from Solihull. This is the venue. These are the fixtures. Ronan McCarthy takes on John McAllister in our first match tonight. And it's Lee Warren, the local hero around these parts, taking on Jason Rimington in the other match. The winner of both will go through to a final and then potentially claim a place on finals night, which is here in Solihull in 2 weeks' time. Stephen Jameson and Simon Webb with you on the commentary. And Simon, this is a night that we're really looking forward to. Multiple reasons. We've got two of the top players in the business in one semi-final, and two of the underdogs. Really, one of them is a real fairy tale story in Lee Warren. But it should be a fantastic night, and we see here our first two players. It should be a belter.
Yeah, tonight's going to be fantastic. As you said, we've got two of the very best players in the game at the moment to start us off tonight. Ronan McCarthy's been right at the top of the game for a very long time, and John McAllister, he's a real rising star in the game and been one of the best players on the tour this season. So this should be an absolute cracker. And as you say, a little bit later on, we've got the local hero, Lee Warren. So the atmosphere for that should be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, John McAllister actually qualified here in Solihull in week 8, which seems like a very, very long time ago now. And even further ago, Ronan McCarthy qualifying through in week 2 in Washington.
Yeah, I think all 4 players tonight qualified relatively early. They've all had a bit of a layoff from the competition. I don't know if that's going to play any part. I think they all play enough pool outside of this event that it shouldn't have too much of a bearing.
John McAllister is the man on your right in a lovely plum polo. Ronan McCarthy looking pensive on the left in the blue. John to break first. And it is very much game on in Solihull. Gets a ball. And it's a nice break that as well. And I tell you what, for how that's come out for his first break in a big match, you can't really ask for too much more.
No, he's going to be absolutely delighted. He really caught that break well, controlled the white nicely, and he's got a very, very handsome split to go at. I think he's just got a slight issue with the red-yellow on the bottom left-hand side. He's just overhit. That was a nice opening pop, but I think he's over on the positional side. You can still pop the yellow to the left centre, and the yellow he's nearest to. But the way this table's laid out, that yellow that's going to the top left is whether he can pop that with avoiding the red. That's going to be his biggest stumbling block. And I don't know whether the yellow nearest the bottom middle, as we look, drops into the middle either. So a couple of stumbling blocks, but a good opening chance.
Yeah, let's go with the thin cut. Played it nicely. He might just, in nudging that red, have created himself another problem. You can see around the venue the flags are up. It is, of course, World Cup season. And really positive atmosphere around the place this afternoon. We're expecting a decent crowd in tonight with Lee Warren, the local qualifier in this event, playing in the second match. That's a lovely shot.
Yeah, he was left with, it wasn't the nudge he wanted on the previous shot, but he was left with a lovely little angle to double up a bad ball. so that's come out really well for him. He's still got a couple of problems. I'm not sure if the yellow that he nudged, you can just see there, does that yellow go past the red to the centre? It probably does, but it's tight. And the other yellow that I mentioned earlier on to the other centre pocket, that looks tight as well. So still some problems. Finishing on the cushion there is causing him a bit of an issue because it takes away some of his control from the next shot. He's on this red to the yellow to the bottom right. It looks like the natural angle is going to avoid the reds and the yellow on the side rail. You can't get to the bottom of the white to be able to go into them.
Well, I think he'd be pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, he's still got a problem though with that yellow. He's on the next shot, but that yellow, unless it goes to the bottom left as we look, it's going to be very difficult for him to get onto that yellow in any pocket. Yeah, and he was trying to get the white to the bottom end of the table. He was trying to come a bit more down the centre of the table, avoid that red, and take that yellow to the top right. But that cannon on the red has left him just no shot on this now. Felt like this whole visit's just been, he's never got control of the white. He's never been exactly where he wanted to, and he's sort of had to react to where he's been left rather than just got hold of it after the first shot and run them out normally, real comfortably.
Is he trying to cut this? He did try to play a clever little billiards shot, but it hasn't come off for him, and Ronan McCarthy will get a chance in this first frame.
Yeah, I don't think he had the full pocket there, and if he's right behind it, then maybe he drops that in, but from where he was asking a lot.
Straighting start then for John McAllister. Overcame Ben Rowland and Luke Wrigglesworth to get here tonight.
It's interesting that Luke's here tonight as well. I think he's here supporting Jason Remington, who he's good friends with. So one of the guys that John knocked out is here watching the action.
Ronan McCarthy is at the table and was in ominous form in week 2. Didn't drop a single frame against Stuart Wright and Lee Ray. 6-0 both wins. A man in a hurry.
Yeah, he was right in the middle of a real purple patch even for Ronan. He was just fantastic at the Welsh Open, which was around that time as well, and it took a stunning performance at the World Championships to knock him out. So he was really riding high. Haven't seen much from him over the last few weeks. We don't know how he's playing now.
Now, the way that white has ended up, was he intentionally missing that shot?
Yes. He may have played it in a bit of a two-way shot, that if it goes in, he's on the next ball, but I think he probably played it into the jaw almost exactly as it's come out.
Yeah, it was just the way it rattled. It was so close to going in. I did just wonder if he did play to miss it.
Oh, this is unbelievable. What a shot.
And that's always the risk, isn't it? We see this quite a lot. It's a regular pattern in these matches that if a player gets away a good break and only has one ball left, misses, there comes the table. Usually their first instinct is to try and get a snooker and get a couple of free shots to develop their balls. And that's always the risk that they've got, in that ball might well have gone in.
Yeah, no, in hindsight, I mean, if he did purposely play the snooker and cover the pocket rather than just a missed pot with the snooker, then he's been punished for that, because a really, really good hit from John, and it's made things a bit trickier for Ronan. He's a bit short. You just see the little grimace on his face. That's because he's probably 2 inches short. He wanted to be 2 inches further so that he could play the red onto the one over the pocket and just develop the red that's next to the yellow that doesn't go, that's causing him all the problems.
Yeah, it's lots of formality, this frame.
You still want to be, Ronan is still in charge of this frame, but he's not. It's not as good as it was previous visit. He's got to play a really nice shot here. And that's okay. he just had to be careful not to leave John too much to go up. He's got the total snooker. Hasn't tied that red up. I believe it still goes to the bottom left. That would have been a bit of a disaster had he covered that. But I think the overhead showed that red still goes.
Yeah, it looks that way.
It's a tricky shot for John. It's a very simple hit off the top cushion, but he's just got to be careful that if he catches it wrong, the white could go close to the centre pocket. But if he catches it right, he could return with a snooker of his own here. It's just overhit it, and he's actually come out it really badly for John, because it's fairly simple here for Ronan just to drop the one on the rail down over the one on the pocket, and then everything else is fairly simple.
Yeah, this now looks pretty straightforward, and that's what it takes sometimes. One thing that we can feel pretty confident in saying is don't expect many misses between these two. They really are two of the very best around at the moment, and it'll have been a little bit of a wry smile when they both qualified through pretty comfortably, played well, to then realise that the person they'd drawn in the next round was each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of good players out there that you could say the same about, but these are two of the very, very best players in the game at the moment.
Well, the first frame goes the way of Ronan McCarthy. The first chance went the way of John McAllister. But we will see this. If you give one of these two a chance, you seldom don't get punished. Here is what Ronan McCarthy has been up to in recent months. You can see he's been in pretty good form indeed. British Open champion last year in October. He won the Welsh Professional as well in February, and has been on such a roll of form.
Yeah, that final, the Welsh Professional, that's what I was referring to earlier, when that was played, I think a week or two after he qualified through on the Champions Cup. And that 8-1 victory over Jimmy Carney was one of the best performances I've ever seen. Nobody could have beaten him. It was Jimmy's played out of his skin to get one. It really was a phenomenal performance.
Now then, cut break in operation from Ronan, but he comes up dry with his first.
Yeah, he's caught that break really, really well. He'd be very disappointed not to make a ball. Ronan will be the first to admit the break's been a pretty weak part of his game for a while, although I would say in the last 6 to 12 months it's definitely improved a lot from where it was, say, 12 months ago. I think, look at the number of balls in the top half of the table, look at the separation he's got. He's hit that break well and deserved to make one. It's just unfortunate sometimes you come up dry.
Yeah, if there was a complete science to it, if there was rhyme or reason behind everything, it'd be a whole lot less frustrating as a player.
Yeah, I mean, the break's the most frustrating part of the game. All you can do is hit the break well, consistently hit the break well, and if you believe, if you do that, you've got to believe that you're going to make more than you're going to miss, and when you make one, you've got to then make the most of it.
John has got a little bit of work here to do. It's slightly congested top of the table.
Yeah, I think it looks more congested than it actually is. I think he's okay here. I think he can play the yellow to the top left. If he can and straight catches the red full in the face, the yellow goes to the right centre, and if he's on that, then everything else just unfolds lovely.
Just like that.
So it's one of those finishes that looks a lot more congested than it actually is. He just wants to be careful here, because the reason he's taking a little bit more time over this, you think it's a simple pot, is if he catches that red, it can just hurt position a little bit. He'd love to just glide past that red that the yellow's next to. Oh, he got a kick. He's still got a shot, but that's he wanted to be the other side of that red, almost straight on this yellow to the centre, and he's now going to have to probably take it to the corner.
occupational hazard of the pool table.
Yeah, sometimes you can get those when you don't quite cue them well and a delicate shot. Maybe you just decelerate on it or something, something along those lines. I'd need to see that again to see whether that was just really unfortunate or he didn't quite hit it as well as he normally does. He's still okay, he just needs to pull out one good pot and it should be still there for him.
There's that one good pot. This is a little thin. Really pleased with that recovery in general, I'd say.
Yeah, this is almost exactly where he was trying to get the white off that previous shot. It's, in ideal world, you like to be straighter on it, but it shouldn't cause any problems.
And in an ideal world, he wouldn't be on the cushion for this final shot, but again, not one he will expect to miss. John McAllister to square things up. Beautifully done. And it's one apiece.
That reverse dish from John, to me, it highlights the class of the player. You know, he's got one of the best temperaments around. You couldn't tell, how he's playing by looking at his face, and he got a bit unlucky with the kick, left himself awkward, but he's pulled up 2 great shots to recover the situation and still make the finish look really easy. And that's just really highlights the temperament that he's got. And you can see from his recent tournament history that, look at the finals he's been in, the semi-finals of the World Championships. That 7-6 victory in the Scottish Open final against Greg Batten, that was a higher class of a final you'll ever see. I think it was, off the top of my head, I think that was 12 dishes from the break in a 13-frame match. Incredible standard.
To World Championship semi-finals as well, beaten by Ben Davis in Bradford. 3-0 in the end. He makes a ball right at the end there. Need to be pleased with. One of the last balls on the move. The red to the top of the table. Just got nudged in as well. Double kiss off the white. That's it. You just saw he put his right hand out to Ronan, just say, "Wow."
It's an odd thing.
It's my day today.
Yeah, that's an odd thing because a lot of pool players do that. He hasn't really had a touch. It's the break. That's what happens. But you see a few players do that, last ball rolling or a double kiss to make the last ball rolling, that sort of thing. You just acknowledge the fact that you've had a touch. But I never really feel the need on the break to do that.
Because you're a very impolite human.
Well, he's if he had a touch of fortune off the break, he certainly hasn't had one off that shot. He's got himself reds, but I don't think he's got any pot to go out. He may just be able to see the one to the bottom right as we look, but there's no finish on. This is a really tricky spot for him.
Yeah, ended up really unlucky off that shot.
Yeah.
He played safe.
Played safe. Oh, that little second nudge. That was almost going to, if he doesn't get a second nudge on that white finish is welded to that red next to the yellow. But that little nudge has allowed Ronan to see the next shot. The way these balls are laid out, it's a big advantage for yellows at this stage. There was no finish for Ronan to go out there. There was no point going for a finish because there really isn't one on. No point pushing the boat out. But he's got the tactical control in his frame.
Yeah, the way these two play on the front foot almost gets forgotten about a lot of the time. That they're very good tactical players as well in terms of their ability in a frame like this. Where do you put them? We know they can pop with the best of them.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody out there that you think could out tactically play Ronan. He's got all aspects of the game. He's been playing at the highest level for such a long time. He knows all the little tricks and ways to develop and work out frames like this. John's being a lot younger. He's grown up just playing aggressive pool, but it's a difficult one to judge how good he is at these sort of frames because you're so often used to seeing him just finish the whole time. But all I'd say is in this particular situation, you'd want to be starting with the yellows here. Reds are a long way behind to start with.
Swiped that one in.
Yeah, he had to play that with an awful lot of side, a lot of right-hand side on that just to make the angle for the pot. Couldn't play that plain ball, which is what's hurt his position side of the shot.
Oh, good recovery though. Very nicely done.
Yeah, it's amazing that poor position on the previous shot forced his hand to take that double on, and now he's made that double. It makes the finish an awful lot easier because that was his bad ball that he's made.
It is amazing how it often works out, isn't it?
Yeah, these are the sort of situations that John in his chair, he's not conceded the frame, but he knows he's very, very unlikely to get back to the table now. Once Ronan has them all open, and all he has to do is pick a good route to work his way around the table, he's just so consistent.
Yeah, I think I'm right in saying that in Washington in week 2, I think he only missed 2 shots. Absolutely deadly. In particular, I remember Lee Ray had to come through a really tough semi-final at Brian Halker, I think it was 6-5.
Yeah.
And only to run into the whirlwind that was Ronan McCarthy, which made it all feel a little bit in vain.
Yeah, he may have been hurt a little bit by the fact that he played the second semi-finals. I had to almost go straight back on, and Ronan was just started the match in great form and just never relented.
Well, he takes the 3rd frame. He'll be pleased with that, especially with John breaking first and having a ball. Here we see the reminder of his results: 6-0, 6-0. It's 2 good players in Stuart Wright and Lee Ray.
Yeah, and to be fair, you know, maybe Stuart and Lee missed a couple of chances they'll be disappointed with, but that was more to do with the fact that the level that Ronan played at. He was just fantastic.
It's, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, players who are very, very good, but it's seldom they win back-to-back games to love, essentially, because you have so little control over what your opponent does, and it's incredibly rare that the chances will come to you. Yeah. Then you to be able to take, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. To get 12 frames on the trot against players of that level, you need things to go your way. You need them to be making mistakes, or you need all the breaks to go your way. Because more often than not, you think your opponent's going to get, you know, a good chance, and players of that level normally take them. So.
I feel like you can talk from personal experience as well, of course.
Oh yeah, I made my exit in this tournament just to nil as well. So.
We'll let you off of that one. You did literally play 4 shots in the match.
Literally 4 shots, yeah. Three breaks and a missed pot.
That missed pot still keeps you awake at night.
Oh, I was 5-0 down at the time. But that just shows the level the guys are playing at. That night Simon played so well. He did 5 finishes from the break and the 1 finish after I missed my first ball. And then the next round he gets knocked out. You know, that's the nature of the game. You know, there's so many players capable of playing to such an extreme level.
And Scotland actually knocked out Simon Ward in Chester a couple of weeks ago. Dean Dunster advancing through last week here on Freesports, and we take a look at the lineup for the semi-finals. The 2 Scots in it already, Gillespie and Dunster, 2 brilliant players.
Yeah, we've got Ronan from Northern Ireland and John from England, and both Lee and Jason from England. So no Scotsmen in the field tonight.
After waiting so long to have a Scot on the Champions Cup, we've been inundated with them in recent weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, the standard of ball up in Scotland at the moment is fantastic. He's just come up short. I thought when he hit it that he'd be on the yellow, but he's just come up short, and I don't think he can make a pot now.
Yeah, he wanted to play the one below the black, I think. But
I don't think he can see enough of this one to pot it, so I think it's some sort of double attempt. Yeah. Oh, that's just incredible.
never doubt Ronan McCarthy. And the fact that he's come up perfect on the next ball as well.
It's just... You're sitting there in chair thinking, oh, he's run out of position. Right, I'm going to get a chance here. And then he comes up with that. Still needs to play a good shot here because he's just got a slightly off angle for getting on this black. It's not a case of just dropping this in. If he's playing for the black in the middle, he's got to really punch this in on and off. Yeah, he's played that really well.
Yeah, it's a more difficult shot than it looked, I think.
Yeah, he's made that look a lot easier than it actually was.
Nicely done from Ronan McCarthy, who moves into a 3-1 lead with a really, really impressive break and dish, and that's what we expect when we see these two play. We find ourselves with John McAllister up next to break, and this is how he got through. Interestingly, the only man to win 7 frames in his match.
Yeah.
Did that against Luke Wrigglesworth. I think the original plan for the competition was to have a first to 7 final. But with the nature of all the games being so close a lot of the time, that quickly got scrapped, and then when that night in Solihull rolled through very quickly, why not all play to 7?
Yeah, I don't know how it's exactly worded, but I think it's sort of a race to 7 time dependent, and I think nearly every week it's had to be a race to 6, and that just happened to be one night that wasn't.
So John with the break, then he could use one going his way here. And he has made a ball, and red's gone in.
Yeah, the whites ended up in a pretty horrible place. It's a big break again, and he has made a ball. But it looks like he's forced into yellows. He's got yellow to the centre. But I was going to say, whether it's reds or yellows, either colour set are horrible in terms of going for the finish from here. The yellows at the top end of the table are better than the reds, but this yellow at the bottom nearest the black is a problem. So I think he's going to go straight after the yellow next to the black. If he makes this double, then the sort of finish becomes more available. But the problem with this double for me is what's he playing on? If he makes the double, what's his next shot?
Might be about to find out.
Yeah, that was very high tariff. The double was, if he was just playing the double, I'd have expected him to make it, but the fact he's having to screw that round 3 cushions to try and get anywhere near positional on the next ball makes that very difficult.
Great left the white as well. It was nearly one of the shots of the tournament.
Yeah, it really was. It was asking a lot though. And that's just the way the game's gone for him so far in the first 4 frames. He's had some chances off his break, or he's made balls off his break and got control of the table, but the finishes haven't really been there for him. But the reds aren't a gimme by any stretch. That's why I think John was able to take that double on, was the fact that he could, he wasn't leaving Ronan a simple finish. Ronan's got to work out both those reds to the bottom right as we look now. Neither of them go. I also don't think the red goes past the yellow to the bottom right as we look. So we may see him go for some sort of control shot. Maybe try and get this red into the top right-hand pocket. Might be a good choice. Or maybe the red on the rail to that pocket. It's not great. He hasn't covered the pocket. He's blocked. There's only one yellow that's blocked, and that was already blocked. He needed that to catch the yellow that he cannoned. He wanted to catch that just a fraction thinner, send the red closer to the pocket, and really tie that end of the table up. John's going to have an option to, if he goes for the finish, he's going to have an option to develop that bad yellow. He's got enough balls near it that wouldn't be too much of a problem. And if he decides, I don't think he was trying to catch that, or he wanted to avoid it, get a little bit higher up the table. If he decides that he doesn't want to go for the finish, then he should be able to gain control of that top right hand corner pocket as well. So advantage John here. I think he's too thin on the one in the middle to get any sort of position on the next shot.
It's going out okay for him.
Yeah, again, it's the problem of being on the cushion. He's only got one ball near that, his problem ball now. He hasn't really got an angle to develop it off this next shot. He's right on the cushion for it. So it's hard for him to manufacture anything. It's not ideal. Wouldn't surprise me if he just takes the pocket with his shot. Doesn't want to pot it. That's a disaster.
He may even be totally snookered here. I'm not sure if he can just clip the narrowest edge of the yellow he's closest to, but yeah, in potting it, total disaster. He might even be able to see the thinnest edge of this one.
Yeah, he really wasn't. He was just trying to play that jaw, let that sit right over the pocket, limit Ronan's options. That's a really big mistake from John.
Well, he was trying to line up the pot. Even the fact that he had to attempt that spoke volumes, really.
Yeah, even if he makes it, he's in trouble, but he's sort of just handing the chance over to Ronan now. Of course, Ronan still has to develop the red and yellow at the top right. Don't know whether he can play the one that's just above the yellow, play that as a plant onto one over the pocket. If he can, then this is fairly simple, assuming that black goes without too much fuss. And the fact that he's played safe suggests that maybe the black's slightly more awkward than it looks, or he doesn't like the red and the two reds at the top end of the table.
Constantly thinking, you can almost hear the cogs turning in the McCarthy mind. Lovely analytical brain. And John buries the double. I'm just trying to figure out what he's shooting for here.
I think, well, he's playing on another double. I think he's got an option to double the yellow by the black, but how he gets on the final yellow, I have no idea. White's going to be going up to the top end of the table. That red that's in the open at the top end of the table looks a little bit of a blocker. The angle he's coming, he needs to avoid that.
Makes it.
Wow,
What
that is a fantastic shot.
What a shot that is. And he's a little unlucky that he hasn't come out more favourably. Straight down to play. Goes for the cross. And that really would have been unbelievable. But I think he's got to be... Wow, that's an incredible shot. He deserved more out of it in reality.
Yeah, you said at the time, he plays that next shot after that very, very quickly. He gets down like it's hanging over the pocket, and it needed a little bit of working out, that shot. Maybe he was just annoyed that it hadn't come out better and he played it quickly, but was a little bit surprised the speed he played it at.
I'm a bit surprised Ronan potted that one so quickly as well, and not bringing up the yellow and the red.
Yeah, that's a bit awkward for him now. Can he pot this? Can he pot the red in the middle and just screw straight back into the yellow and red? If he can't, then it'll be a safety shot. No harm in waiting one more visit to go for the finish. Try and get that white somewhere down behind the black. Doesn't really matter if he doesn't get the snooker.
Come out pretty nicely.
Yeah, this is. Can he come off maybe the top cushion into the yellow, get that moving, maybe try and get the yellow going towards the red over the centre pocket? I mean, we are talking really, really long odds. There's no real safety options. There's no way of playing that yellow and keeping it tied up. May end up being a bit of a hit and hope.
Shot clock ticking. It is a good old-fashioned hit and hope, and all the hope in the world. Hasn't gone very far, I think, here.
I said earlier on that John's got a fantastic temperament, as has Ronan, but you could see he didn't show too much emotion there, but you could just get the sense of the frustration on his face.
It will at last be a routine finish for Ronan. Frame that swung this way and that. A frame which again John had a chance in. But a frame that Ronan McCarthy takes the victory in 4-1 then to the Northern Irishman. And it is looking pretty bleak for John McAllister at the moment. Ronan McCarthy is just 2 frames away for a place in the next round. These are the stats so far, and you can see from the amount of balls potted, it shows John's in the match.
Yeah, John's had his chances. Every chance he seems to have, it's been tricky. You can see he's only missed 1 pot. He's been running out of position, or he's been unable to develop the bad balls. But you can see the break's gone his way. So, yeah, it's just been a tricky night for John so far.
Yeah, we will see if he can dig himself out of his tricky spot. The conclusion of this match between Ronan McCarthy and John McAllister is next.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing. The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
And welcome back to Freesports, and welcome back to the IPA Champions Cup 2018. This is Ronan McCarthy 4-1 up against John McAllister. Big favourite to go through to tonight's final against either of Lee Warren and Jason Remington, and that break has gone well for him. He's made a ball, but his first shot might be difficult.
Yeah, these are the sort of finishes that John's been left so far in this match. He's made a ball, but as you say, there's not really a lot on for him. Maybe that shows a sign of a bit more experience, maybe. In those situations, I think John had a very similar chance in the second or third frame, and he went for a double, trying to make something happen, and ended up coming out the wrong side of it. Ronan's just decided there's no finish here. Let's turn the table over, and over to you, John. Ronan will have been disappointed not to get the white further across the right-hand side, because he gets a little bit further to the right. He doesn't leave John that chance, because John's really only got one bad ball. I say only one, but the two, the one that's sitting on the red obviously is a problem. The two inside that, I guess they're not ideal either. I don't think either of those go, so there's a bit more work on first glance.
Yeah, a little wry smile just playing on the face of John McAllister.
Yeah, it just seems to go that way sometimes. That you have a night where you're just on the wrong angle, you finish on the wrong angle on balls, just the wrong side, or everything's hard work.
Yeah, I think you're right about his temperament. Pretty much has one stock expression, and that is one of pretty much, it looks always unimpressed. But
Yeah, and you get the occasional little creak of the neck where he's like, that could have been better. But other than that, I mean, you're hard to tell whether he's winning, losing, good shot, bad shot. It's, I think that's really important as well. I think it's very difficult. Certainly, I found it very difficult to. You can't play well when you're getting annoyed and frustrated and angry out there. You need to keep yourself, even if you are annoyed with a shot. I think you almost need to keep a poker face, and even if you're kidding yourself rather than just your opponent, you need to keep yourself under control. I think there's one thing all the top players on the tour at the moment, with the possible exception of Jordan Shepherd, all the sort of, you wouldn't know whether they're winning or losing by their mannerisms. Jordan shows a bit more emotion out there, plays in a bit more of a flamboyant way as well, but more often than not, that temperament comes with, it's important for top players.
yeah, we certainly saw the flashes of annoyance from Jordan Shepherd back in week 5 in Sheffield, when he was actually beaten by Jason Remington, who we'll see later on tonight. A bit of a shock result, 6-4 in the final, in the way of Jason. He had to play very well just to get to that final. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. 6-5 over Michael Rhodes.
Does this go to the top left? Looked very tight. Oh, what a great shot. See the tap on the knee from Ronan. Shows how good a shot it was if your opponent's tapping the knee. Oh, he's wanted the cannon that just a fraction thinner. I think he can still cut this in, but it's a lot thinner than he wanted it to be.
Position on the black isn't guaranteed either when it's this thin.
Yeah, the overhead now maybe it. Oh, this is really thin. I don't think it was on the cut.
And he doesn't make the double. It was a tough one, always is when you go the length of the table. You just see there, the smile on his face. He's just starting to get the feeling not be his night tonight.
Yeah, once he makes that pot, the top left, he would have expected to win the frame, and he was just hoping for a slightly thinner contact when he was playing the previous pot, and it's just catching it thicker, nudges it safe, doesn't cut, and yeah, it's been that sort of night for him.
I think it's one of the first extensions that we've seen used by Ronan. Players do get 45 seconds with one re-extension a frame. He's been pretty smooth all the way through.
Yeah, what Ronan was giving extra thought to there, he really wanted to play safe off the red just below the right hand centre. He wants to play safe off that ball because he wants to develop that ball whilst playing safe off it, but if in doing so, if he'd just caught the other red on that rail, he could have left John a chance. It wasn't a guaranteed shot, so he's decided just to play the guaranteed snooker rather than trying to develop the ball at the same time.
And the miss from John really has opened this up now for Ronan. You'd be hugely surprised to see him not in the frame from here.
Yeah, going to use his free shot, just pop this yellow on top of that red that's on the rail. Needs to be careful with this shot, doesn't want the yellow to come off the rail. Played to perfection. Sort of a twofold shot, that one. It's definitely a shot. I mean, I know it's pretty split amongst the top players that would do that and players that would just go, I don't need to worry about my opponent's ball, I'll just clear them up. I might use my free shot to develop my ball. And the other half would say, well, why wouldn't I put his ball safe? But for people watching at home, I think that's such an important shot for players to play. You know, you just give yourself extra security when you're going for a finish. If you miss, your opponent's ball's now on the rail. It's so unlikely you'd leave him a shot on.
There's almost no excuse not to play that shot. Yes, it might seem a bit negative, and players never ever expect to miss anyway. But it is just that little level of security blanket in case something does go awry.
Yeah, I'm definitely in that camp that says, you know, why wouldn't you play it? You know, you gain a lot for doing it. It doesn't cost you anything. I mean, it's only if sometimes you can do it and maybe at the risk of not developing your ball or something like that, then you can question it. But I know certainly a handful of top players that would just say that when they come to the table, when they've got a free shot, they think they're not even looking at their opponent's ball. It's what do I need to do? I'll only worry about mine and would never play that shot. But this is a prime example of why that's a good choice now. You know, he's finished on a red here where, yes, you expect him to pot it, but it's missable. If that yellow was in the open play and if he missed, he was leaving a chance on, it would be even harder. There'd be more pressure on the shot.
This has been, in the main, smooth and clinical from Ronan McCarthy, who goes 5-1 up. Is there any stopping this man in the Champions Cup?
He's played close to a flawless match. Sometimes you can play a flawless match and that means you're making a lot of break dishes and a lot of reverse dishes, but he's had a match where I don't think he's played a bad shot yet. Every shot he's played turned out exactly as he's played it. He's been very, very clinical with his chances, and John's had to chase a few finishes.
One of the most recent times they played each other on the tour was last year at the British Professional in October. John McAllister won that 8-5.
Yeah, they were two of the highest performing players on the 2017 season. I'm surprised they only played once last year.
Yeah, I mentioned John got to the semi-finals of the World Championship. He was beaten by the eventual winner in Ben Davis. He was beaten 3-0 as well, but what that doesn't show you is how close that match was. 4-3, 4-3, 4-2 the set scores. And he'll be pretty satisfied with that performance in that tournament. He won't be satisfied with that break. And you just see it's just not going for him. He's made a great break there. Balls are in.
Yeah.
Balls are spread, and then in goes the white.
Yeah, the white gets kicked in as well. That wasn't human error. That was just poor luck. Hit the break really well. Deserved better than he got. But it's been that sort of night for him, and he knows the form Rona's in. On any given night, you know, you foul off the break, you don't expect to get another shot against Ronan. But the form he's showing tonight, I'll be absolutely shocked if John hasn't played his last shot in this match in this tournament. Looks like he's just got one red to develop, and then the reds are fairly routine. The only possible problem is which pocket does he want to pop the black in. He just needs to make sure he makes that decision. He may even decide just to nudge into the black now, make it slightly easier. Oh, that's not gone well. Oh, he's okay. He's just okay. I was so surprised he played it with that much pace. I thought he was just going to nudge into possibly the black or the yellow. Played it with quite a lot of pace, and he's a little bit fortunate that that red still goes to the top left as we look. I'm pretty certain that red did go, but with the angle he had, it would have been difficult for him to get on it off that red. Even if he played with an awful lot of check side, I think he would have still gone into the yellow, so decided to try and cannon into it and play it with control, and played it really, really well.
I don't think we've really seen anyone play a bad shot this whole match. I think it speaks volumes for the sort of form that he is in. And he's now just 2 shots away, 2 very, very routine shots away from securing a place in tonight's final. It's there. John McAllister is beaten and exits the Champions Cup. Ronan McCarthy drops his first frame of the tournament, but it still remains his only frame of the tournament. He has not won. He looks in very, very dangerous form.
Yeah, that's very, very impressive all-round match performance from Ronan. John's going to be frustrated that his work that he had tonight, his chances he had were tricky, and he sort of chased a few finishes that were tricky, but when the person you're playing against is punishing every mistake you make, it just makes it harder to do, and Ronan rolls on, and he's going to be, whoever gets through the other semi-final, Ronan will start the match a decent price favourite.
Yeah, he will indeed. Our next semi-final is on the way. Lee Warren versus Jason Remington. We will also hear from the man himself, Ronan McCarthy, as well. That's all still to come on Freesports.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing. The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
Welcome back to Solihull, joined by the winner of our first match tonight, Ronan McCarthy. Ronan, congratulations on a great performance. You have, though, dropped a frame. The disappointment must be killing you.
Got it. I would rather have them 6-0s, but I suppose when you're playing a player like John, you'll take 6-1 every day of the week, so I'm happy with the result.
Talk to me a little bit about the performance, because it seemed to be another game in this tournament where everything went right for you. You didn't seem to play many loose shots at all.
It did. Any time I played a loose one, I managed to pull myself back with a couple of hard doubles. So basically the two bad shots I played, I got away with them because I was able to get two big shots to get back in the frame. So apart from that, I feel good. I didn't really do much wrong at all.
And in terms of the time that you've spent in this competition, obviously you're all the way back in week 2. Have you been itching to get to the table after that?
After the first couple of rounds, I really enjoyed, being live on TV. It's a big thing, and all the family and all back at home watching. And this is actually the first time my mum's watched a match, so I had the one. She told me I was going to get a clip in the ear if I didn't win this match. So after 30 years, she's finally watched me, and at least I won for her. So I'm happy with that.
Well, that's a big congratulations for you for that one. We can't wait to watch you in the final tonight. Best of luck.
Cheers, Matt. Thank you.
And here's a reminder of just how Ronan got there. Terrific performance then from Ronan McCarthy, who secures his place in tonight's final and the quarter-final overall in the Champions Cup. This is our second match of the night, and it really should be an interesting one. Really excited for this one, and the whole place is absolutely buzzing for Lee Warren versus Jason Rimington. This is very much an away match for Jason, Simon.
Yeah, it really is. I had a quick chat with Jason beforehand and said, I hope you realise, the atmosphere that Lee had, the support that Lee had in his first round here. Having said that, Jason will be a decent favourite for this match. He's a tournament winner on the IPA tour, and he's been in a number of finals, whereas Lee's a very much an unknown quantity. But I'd have said the same thing about him in his first round match and his second round match, and he came through both of those.
Yeah, he did indeed. Lee on the left. He was the Riley's qualifier into this tournament. This competition was designed to find the very best of the best, and in doing so it had qualifying tournaments to find some of the best local talent that maybe don't play on the IPA tour, and Lee won that. And then in his week 6 round in here in Solihull, in his home club where he plays all the time, is he going to pot the black to save him? No, he isn't. And his first break comes up dry, which will let Jason up to the table. But I'll be a bit disappointed with that, Lee.
Yeah, he hasn't caught that break brilliantly. Still quite a congested pack, not that much movement on the ball, suggests that he didn't quite get through the pack as clean as he wanted, even for a cut break. But he's still got enough of a split that he probably deserved to make a ball, but not to be. And first chance for Jason.
Yeah, Lee overcame Bill Parkin 6-3. which was already a surprise, that result, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
And then in the second round, well, the big surprise, knocking out Andy Blurton in the final, 6-4.
Yeah, that was a real big surprise to me, and it wasn't as though it wasn't that Andy gave it to him. Andy played really well in that match. Probably missed a couple of balls, but that was it. Lee just played fantastically well, and if I remember right, he came up with a couple of phenomenal shots when the match was tight, 4-4, I think, and 5-4. He really took the ball by the horns and got his rewards.
Jason, as I mentioned earlier, had a really good round in Sheffield. He was back in week 5 and he knocked out Jordan Shepherd, which, as you were saying earlier, Simon, one of the top players on the tour, knocked him out 6-4 in the final. Nearly didn't even make it through to that final. 6-5 it was in his semi against Michael Rhodes. Michael Rhodes had a couple of frames to win it, if I remember rightly. That was 5-3 at one point to Michael.
Yeah, good comeback, and then could come back to win that semi-final, and then to win the final against Jordan. Great performance. But as we say, I mean, you mentioned a couple of times tonight, and you probably did, he wasn't the seed for his first round, his first night. Jordan was, but Jason is a tournament winner on the IPA tour, and he's been to a few finals, so no surprise for any of the players to see Jason when he gets through, when he wins matches, because when he plays well, and he's capable of going all the way.
These are two of the underdogs really in this last 16 in the Champions Cup. And not maybe doing Jason Remington a little bit of a disservice, but
yeah, no, I mean it's fair. You know, if Jason comes through this match as on paper, he's maybe expected to. We're going to see some more of Lee in a minute, but Ronan's going to be pretty much favourite against nearly every player on the tour, and there's only one or two that he wouldn't be. So that's no disrespect to Jason. It's just the standard that Ronan's at the moment. He's sort of potted himself into a bit of trouble here.
got out of it really well though. Now, is he straight on that red? That could cause him a problem.
That's just a brilliant shot, isn't it? As I say, he's potted himself into trouble. He comes out and pulls out a brilliant double from being snookered, and I think that overhead shows he's probably got just enough angle. I don't think it depends. I think that red does go to the top left. So I think as long as he gets the white somewhere near the centre pocket, I don't know whether that red's got a full pocket to the top left, but I think he can definitely pot it in there.
Yeah, it looks like that's the case. Will this be 1-0 to Jason Remington? Looks that way. A respectful round of applause from the watching crowd here, who are very partisan, make no mistake, but they're a very knowledgeable pool crowd as well. They will very much show Jason the right amount of respect. This is what he's been up to in the last few months, very active on the tour, and a very dangerous opponent as well, as you can see. Went really deep in a few tournaments, most notably the quarters of the IPA seniors.
Yeah, and he made the final in the British Open last October, losing out to Clinton Hansen in the final. Played a couple of brilliant matches, commentated on a couple of his latter matches, semi-final, quarter-final. Looked kind of, although Clint was favourite in that final, I thought Jason might have the edge just because of the way he'd been playing, but Clint came out with a great performance to beat him. But that's what Jason's capable of. That's why I say it's no surprise to anyone when he wins matches and wins tournaments.
He's in the World Championships. Loath to call them proper, but we'll call them proper for now. Knocked out by Scott Gillespie in round one, who we've seen already make his way through to the semi-finals of the Champions Cup here.
Yeah, that's just about as bad a draw as you can get from all the qualifiers that came through. There's a handful that you want to avoid, and Scott was right at the top of that list. So a tough draw for Jason.
That's good. A tough draw for Jason. That break has come up dry. And Lee Warren will get a chance to bite back after his break in frame 1.
Yeah, pretty decent chance here for Lee. There's a couple of problem areas, but it's definitely a finish on. The only real bad ball that he either needs to double or do something with is well, you've got the 2 yellows on the right hand side. It's the one just above it. I don't think it goes if the other yellow's out the way. Just overhit that, I think, as well. I was going to say if he gets down to it, then he might be able to play yellow onto yellow, play the plant, because I don't think that yellow would go straight if you play the bottom one first. But I don't think he can pop his next ball.
Yeah, you say overhit it, but it did only just drop in the end. I think he was really loath to take too much more pace off it.
Yeah, I think the problem he had, he potted it into the thin part of the pocket. If he pots it into the centre part, or that was the plant I was talking about before, if he gets right behind that, foot behind it, I expect him to make it. But from there, that was tough. Yeah, as I was saying before, that if he makes the previous pot into the centre or the left-hand part of the pocket, he probably holds for the yellow. But because he missed it thin, the white goes just that extra few inches further, and he ends up out of position. No real damage done with that shot. I don't think that red goes past the yellow to the bottom left. And, it's a tricky opening shot for him as well. So Jason wants to go for a finish. He's going to have to pull out a couple of good shots. That's very clever. That was a sort of shot that if Jason makes he probably doesn't want to make the plant. He just wants to get that yellow up near the red. He was probably got closer to playing the yellow onto the red and making the red than he wanted to, actually, because there isn't really a good chance of finish on because of that red on the right hand side rail. But now Lee's got a ball that is absolutely, it's dead. You can't get to it. You can't. It's so far away from the rest of his balls. It's so hard to develop. For me, that's a little bit of a mistake. If I'm Lee, I don't think I want to pop that yellow. I want to keep that yellow on the table because it's causing Jason a problem. But he's got himself another sort of holding ball now.
Yeah, and he's almost tied things up in the way that both players now have a problem ball and is very near to one of their opponents over the pocket.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where both players have got a bad ball that they can't develop, but Jason's got more balls on the table and therefore probably got a little bit more control. But he was also, because of the yellow at the top of the table, he's able to get his bad ball out and sort of leave Lee with no shot. Those line of reds and sort of going down the centre of the table, almost like a blocking wall. Even if he manages to get himself an angle on a ball to get up to that red and yellow, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to... Well, having said that, he's managed it. What a shot that is. Just glances off the red I was talking about. That's incredible.
That is a heck of a shot.
He was almost straight on that shot. He has created an angle there that I did not think was on. That was a brilliant shot. Unfortunately, that's come up a bit short, and he's left himself awkward on the next shot. It's a shame the previous shot deserved the finish. He may not get there now.
Yeah, this is the one thing that you may get with Lee, not being a tour regular. Very, very talented player, capable of moments of brilliance like that, but also probably the least consistent of the four that you'll see at the table tonight.
Yeah, it was a couple of shots like the one he just played in his last match that sort of won him the match. he took those shots on, came up with them, and finished off the finish, and right at the crucial time as well.
Oh, stop it, Lee Warren. Stop that.
Okay, this is some finish here. This is still a really tough shot.
Considering he will not play on these sorts of tables very often, to judge a triple like that, what an absolutely incredible finish this is.
This is ridiculous.
No exaggeration to say, possibly the best finish of the tournament so far. Absolutely superb. Lee Warren, take a bow.
That really was ridiculously good. The first shot was exceptional, but the treble and even the shot after the treble, it's a great cut with a lot of left-hand side to control the white. Just brilliant. It's interesting you say, you know, Lee won't have played on these tables too often. The club that we're playing at, which is his local club, is they've refitted all the tables and they now match the match table we're currently playing on. So he's probably getting more practice on this type of table than he would have done before his previous match or previous part in this tournament.
And here we see Lee's only other IPA event he was in. He was at the non-seeds for the World Championships, beaten by Jake Villeneuve. Speaking to him before he played tonight even. He was saying he was at a couple of local events recently. He was at one in Warwickshire over the weekend. Got to the quarters there. He's been in pretty good nick generally. He's not practiced as much as he would have liked in the last weeks. He's had a bit of a bad back. So I've got the excuse in for him early.
Yeah.
But no, he genuinely was struggling with it. But I said, would it cause you any issues? He said, no, can't let it.
Beware the injured sportsman. Anytime someone says to me, oh, they're a bit injured, whatever sport they're playing, I think, okay, he's going to go well today.
Well, it was a tough start. And Jason's back in here.
As you said a minute ago, I think that's more like what we're going to get with Lee. We're going to get moments of brilliance like the previous visit, and then, you know, he's more likely to miss a shot like that than the other three players playing tonight. It's can he keep those number of errors down and still maintain that high level and the brilliant finishes. Now what can Jason do? That previous, he would have walked away from the table in that previous frame thinking, I'm in control here. I'm going to get given a chance to win this frame, go 2-0 up, pressure's on my opponent, and he would have sat there and watched that and almost expected to come to the table after every shot. He's on the one. He's going to play the one on the left-hand side that we look at now. Maybe through the gap of the reds to the one to the top right. He could play the one he's nearest to, but it's a bit awkward. I think he was playing on the one to the left-hand side. It's just a bit thinner than he would ideally like. Done any damage?
No expression on his face. Quite possibly.
I think the yellow still passes the red. The problem is he can't get to it now, and he's not on a ball now. Right, I guess he can pot the one he's nearest to the bottom right as we look, but the positional side of that, as well as the pot, very tough.
Taking it on though. Oh, that's a really good shot for him. Is he sneaking that white all the way up the table? Can he play the one at the top?
Well, if that white stops an inch less, he can just drop one in the centre and the finish is simple. I think where he's finished, I think I don't think he can see the one to the centre, and if he can see the one to the top, the finish is tricky from there anyway.
Oh, would you believe that? In every sense, what's just
no.
happened?
It's one of those situations you make a fluke, you think, oh, I should put my hand up to apologise. Hang on, you look at the table and go, oh, well, why would I? I've won nothing.
That is the flukiest of fluky flukes. But then to end up totally snookered.
Yeah, not sure how you should feel about that. You've got incredibly lucky and then all that taken away in the same shot. Now for Jason, if he can, it's not the hardest hit in the world, but what's he going to leave? Is it one of those that you want to hit firm and get that yellow moving, try and make it somewhere? If he leaves the white touching the yellow or around that yellow, is he leaving a huge amount on?
Could potentially go for the cross double. No, he's not playing anywhere near hard enough. Yeah, it's the safest option, I think.
Yeah, it's a very good shot. Very, very good shot. That's almost exactly as he played it. He wanted to hit that side of the yellow, get the white down into the jaws. Hopefully the yellow comes across and becomes a bit of a blocker, limits Lee's options. I don't know whether he's left Lee an open pot to go at. But Lee's still in complete control of the frame. Even if he can't pot a ball here, he's got to find a way of just hiding the white. It looks fairly simple to do off any of those reds nearest the left centre. Any of those, he can hide the white. Got a couple of blockers in the way straight away. He's got total, but again, Jason could potentially return with a snooker of his own here. Come off the bottom cushion or the left-hand side cushion as we look in sort of dead weight onto the yellow, or he could maybe play bottom cushion and side cushion, same result. He may be given some thought to the fact that if he continues down this path that eventually he ends up losing. He may decide just because it's such a guaranteed hit, hit it firm. Yeah. The thinking there is if even if he plays the first shot I described perfectly, so coming off the bottom cushion, resting on the yellow, getting the snooker, the odds are that Lee's going to get out of that and return the favour because he's got so many balls in the way. And so when you've got the chance to get good movement on your last ball, send it near a pocket. You never know, it might, you could make it somehow. It was just a slightly careless first shot from Lee, just nudging that red towards the right side rail pocket, right side rail near the middle pocket. He may decide to double that. He may decide to pound it down the rail, but either way, he needs to play a good shot for that ball when it was a bit more in the open. I think he's sort of gearing himself up for the double. Stun this in, then play the double. He's got an angle to get across to it if he wants to. A little bit surprised at that. A little bit surprised to decide to leave this red for his last ball. If he's going to play on it as a double, then the reds to the left-hand side would almost going to leave him guaranteed position on it for a double. The way he's gone about this finish, you're ending up leaving your hardest ball last and you're not good on it. You just give your opponent hope.
tough shot, this. Looks pretty good. Is it going to drop? No. Is the answer. That is close. I think he almost, in the end, slightly underhits it. So I think a little bit more on that, and it goes in.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, would you believe it, though?
Almost a similar shot for Jason, and he misses it on the other side. But he still needs to play a good shot here. It's not easy to control the white when it's over the pocket like this, and that black needs really good position to get on it. Well, he's going to have a shot on it. It's not easy, but you expect to make it.
Goodness me. Wow, incredible. The nonchalant nature of that cross double.
Yeah, I thought he was going to drop it in the centre. I thought it was he was a bit. I thought he was straight enough on it that he could just drop it in the centre, but gone for the cross double and flew in the centre.
Yeah, as a reminder of Lee's previous experience in this competition, blew everyone away in week 6 in Solihull. First time we were here, been here multiple times since. Bill Parker and Andy Blurton were dispatched in remarkable fashion. And it's a fairy tale story, really, for him. He's a regular at this club. A lot of his friends and fellow players are all here tonight supporting him.
That was one of my favourite nights, I think, of the opening 16 weeks, the 16 group stages. Atmosphere was absolutely fantastic, and right up there with some of the best atmosphere I've seen in the sport, really. Normally, there's a lot when there are events with quite big crowds. They're quite partisan and can be quite volatile, supporting their player. But it was an atmosphere where there was so much respect for all 4 players on show. They were very much behind their man, but there was still respect for their opponents, and it was it was just a brilliant night to be a part of.
Certainly a night that Lee Warren will never forget. And sometimes, with the way the last frame panned out, such a bizarre frame in so many ways, and the one that he won the frame before, similar to John McAllister almost, but in reverse. Sometimes you do just wonder, is it someone's night? Jason Remington has that to battle against.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Jason was so close to going 2-0 up that he would have sat. I said it at the time when he was 1-0 up. He's played a really good safety shot. He would have sat in his chair expecting to go getting the chance to go 2-0, and he's had to sit there and take some punishment from his opponent. He now needs to respond. Looks a nice angle on this yellow to the right centre. He wants to catch the red quite full, nudge the red onto the rail, leave himself on the yellow to the corner. It's a delicate shot. He's on the yellow, but it's awkward because if he pots it, he's guaranteed to go into the red and leave himself not on the next yellow. So how does he pot this and get on the next yellow? Probably with difficulty. May be forced into some sort of double.
Sometimes you'd wonder if it's just one player's night. Jason was big favourite. of this frame. And now, Lee Warren's to lose. Got a bit of work to do there.
He has that yellow when Jason's gone for the double. The yellow's jawed and blocked a red, causing Lee some problems. But when you've got that many on the table and your opponent's only got one or two, you're in control really. You just got to find the right shots. Bide your time, wait for the right time to go for it. Lee's made that previous shot look a lot easier than it actually was. Played that with an awful lot of left-hand side, a lot of control on that white. Would have been easy to overdo that or underdo it and leave. You're not leaving a pot on, but you're leaving Jason an open shot at his own balls, and he could get creative and make something special.
Really good hit, and actually that come out quite nicely for him.
Yeah, very, very good hit that. And as you say, it's keeping that red tied up.
Shot.
Another shot that Lee's made looked very, very simple, and it wasn't. Very easy to underhit that one as well. Under or overhit. I think it's a slightly easier escape for this time for Jason. Looks like it's just a one cushion. I think he can see the top rail as we look, be able to come off one cushion to make this. May need a trace of left-hand side to widen the angle. Yeah, it's as good as he could have hoped for.
Might see an exchange for a little while here. It's almost as if Jason's trying to stop the tide. He's doing well to stay in this.
Yeah.
Is Lee going to go for it?
Well, I was about to say that Lee doesn't want to get impatient here. Sometimes you can watch players and they wait too long. I don't know whether this is the right time to go for it for him or not. I would have been tempted to wait a couple more shots, maybe try and develop a couple more of my bad balls whilst I've got Jason's in trouble. It's another good snooker.
Yeah, I think in fairness to Lee, I think that was his plan. I don't think he was being impatient. I think he just wanted an easier way to get a good snooker on. He's got reds to play with.
Yeah, I would never be a fan. Sometimes it's worth potting the ball to get into a position on the table that you can then play a good snooker. I would just avoid it at all costs if I could. Want to keep as many balls on the table.
It's paid off for him.
There's a couple of ways to think about this for Lee. He could just develop his red, or he could just pot Jason's yellow and get back to work. So he's not thinking of the finish here. He's just get rid of Jason's yellow that's in the open and get back to snookers and safety.
Yeah, good battle this.
That wasn't a missed pot. I don't believe he was even thinking about potting that. Just nudging it over. He's happy for Jason to play this yellow. If he plays it with any pace, then the red's going to come out, and there's no guarantee of getting the yellow anywhere near a pocket to make it. So Jason's just trying to force Lee to play the red that's over the pocket rather than the one nearest the black. But if he can see the one near the black, then for me that would be the choice. Play off the one by the black, develop both red and black, get the white to the top end of the table, and then you're probably going to get the snooker. You don't expect to get a foul off it, but next visit you should have a good chance to go for the finish.
That's just as you say.
I was going to say that's a slightly dangerous shot though. I was thinking he would play that with more pace, the same sort of line, but get the white to the top end of the table so that he's almost guaranteeing the snooker. Get the black to come off the cushion, get the red to come out into the open a little bit more. He's left Jason a double that you expect him to go very close to making. he may not get on the black, but he'll go close to making the yellow.
Yeah, bullets the yellow in, but then he popped the black. His only option got to be to come off this bottom cushion, try and knock it towards the pocket.
Yeah, it's a pretty comfortable hit off one cushion or two cushions, but wherever you leave it, unless you make it, you're going to leave Lee a great chance. So you need a bit of fortune here.
How's your luck?
Looks like he can see it. I thought he was going to have to, or maybe he couldn't see it. He's fouled. Wonder what he was thinking there. Wonder what he was thinking. If he could see it, he could just feather off it, maybe try and get the black to be awkward on the rail, leave it, you know, basically say to Lee, you know, go on, go for the finish, try and, you know, tease him into going for it and hope that he doesn't develop a black and it's awkward or something along those lines.
And now it's all there for Lee. You see this setup. The black is a little bit safer than he would have liked, but he'll just play off the one nearest the cushion to get that.
Yeah,
Nearest the pocket, I should say.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. He would have liked that black to stop a foot to 6 inches to a foot short of where it has, but with the red being over the pocket, as you say, it really shouldn't cause him a problem. Although, having said that, he's going to take the red that we were talking about for his last ball.
Makes fools of us all. This game at times.
He needs to get a good position off onto the next thread. That black's not going to be, you know, it's not guaranteed to get good on the black unless he gets good position. And this looks way short. This is now tough. This is, just because of the order he's gone about this, I mean, I still expect him to make this pot and he's going to give himself a shot at the black, but it's harder than it needed to be. Great, great shot. Brilliant. He's played that with an awful lot of left-hand side to get this good on the black.
Played it really, really well. And the black wobbled in, but it did go in. You can hear the supporters getting excited. It's 3-1.
It's 3-1. That, I think, to me, that just shows how confident he is in his ability to make shots, to pop balls, and he's left a very, very tough shot for his last ball, but he's potted it in like it was over the pocket, played it with a lot of side, a lot of control. Very, very impressed.
And this is Jason Remington's record. He got through in Sheffield. This was week number 5. Michael Rhodes and Jordan Shepherd were the dispatched players. As I mentioned, at 6-5 against Michael Rhodes. Jason Remington thought he was down and out at one stage. 5-3 down. Came back to win 6-5 and then beat Jordan Shepherd in the final. And that's going to come up dry.
You've got to feel this is a very, very important frame for Jason. He's 3-1 down. He's had some chances. They've been awkward. Hasn't quite managed to take them, and Lee's sort of gaining with confidence with every frame. 4-1 would be a very, very big lead in this short race. It's similar to a couple of his previous chances as well. You know, when you're playing well and the balls just ping open and you've just got to work your way through them and pick out your nice pattern. Every chance Jason's had, you feel like, it's a bit like with John in the first match, you feel like he's working, there's balls to develop, there's problem areas. There's been no easy finishes for him to go at, and this is much the same. I don't think he's even thinking of a finish either. He's just getting himself reds and looking to probably develop this red on the side, maybe try and weld the white to the yellow. Went the other way, purposely played the double kiss. and trying to get the white not far off where he has now. He'll be happy with that.
He was making it very simple. Had to take on lots of very, very good shots. Quite often say throughout this tournament, so that the best players seldom have to play very difficult shots because the art and the skill is all in the cue ball control. And
yeah, I don't want to talk negatively about the way Lee played that previous frame, but that highlights to me, you know, the difference, or you know, areas he could work on. If that was Ronan McCarthy with the same set of balls, he would almost, I would put my mortgage on the fact he would have left the red over the bottom right. That would have been his last ball, and he wouldn't have had to play that tough shot down the rail and make it with lots of side. Now Lee was good enough to be able to do that, but if you continually put yourself under that sort of pressure, eventually you'll miss one and then it gets harder and harder. That's when you watch players like Ronan play. He's not having to play shots like that very often because he picks out such good clean routes.
it's not that they don't have the ability to play them either, by the way.
No, it's
if anything, in greater positions to do it, but yeah, it's just that level of experience, isn't it, and composure under pressure, which you can certainly forgive Lee for not having as much as Ronan McCarthy of.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's the one thing I sort of spent the last 5 years as I've tried to progress in the game, is just watching players like Ronan and trying to go, well, how's he made that so easy? What's he doing to make the game look so easy? And it's about the order he takes the balls in. It's about the close control he's got, and that's yeah, definitely highlighted with that previous visit. It looks like this red goes to the bottom right. I don't think he's got the full pocket, but the way he's played that previous shot, this red must go. It's not, do you know, it's a bit like I've been saying so far in this match, it's just awkward enough that this can go wrong, because he wants to ideally screw the white back, probably into the yellow that's just above it. Can't just drop this in. See, that's why he's played that with pace. And this is awkward. If he plays the red below the black, he can't get on the red on the rail. If he plays the red on the rail, it's just a much tougher pot, especially over queuing, queuing over that yellow. And he does need a good positional shot off it. It's hard to control the white and hit it soft enough.
He's going for the higher one.
He's probably going to cannon the black half ball and try and get down the table that way. Yeah.
There we go.
You could just see it 3 shots out that on another day the white stops an inch short of where it is, and it's simple. You can just screw back an inch or two and it's really simple, but he finishes that extra inch too far, and it gets tough, and then you end up in the position he's in now.
You mentioned at the start of this frame, it was a big frame for Jason.
Or has he potted the black? Has the red gone in?
Oh. Incredible. Well, if the red had gone in, that would have won in the would have won the frame.
Yeah, absolutely. If the red goes in as well, he wins the frame. That's very unlucky to make the black, but in truth, it's probably just sped up the losing of the frame. If the black doesn't go in, he probably still loses the frame off that. So probably easier for him to take it, I suppose.
Well, if that red had gone in as well, maybe the greatest fluke that you've never seen before.
That would have been right up there with one of the best flukes I've ever seen if that red goes in.
Well, there we go. Those are the match stats, and Lee Warren is 4-1 up as we head towards the break. Take a look at those stats. Jason Merrington has potted the same amount of balls.
Yeah, I think that just shows how this match has gone. Jason's gone for finishes that are tough, not made them, and Lee's punished him. He's mopped them up at the end and done them very, very well.
And he has taken out a couple of his own, which have been fantastic. The conclusion of this semi-final then is next. You don't want to miss it.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing. The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
Welcome back to Solihull IPA Freesports Champions Cup. Lee Warren leads Jason Remington by 4 frames to 1. The fairy tale continues. Simon Webb, Steve Jameson with you here on commentary, and Jason Remington has piled absolutely everything into that break, and given the amount of balls he's made, and possibly considering a little bit unlucky, that's his outcome. But strange, there wasn't too much of a pack explosion, but the ones that did move pretty much gone in.
Yeah, he didn't seem to get the didn't seem to connect with that break as much as possible. As you say, he put everything into that, and I think he probably tried to overhit it almost, and maybe moved on it a little bit, but he still made 3 balls, but they are still a little bit congested in the middle. It's got looks like he's going reds, but the 2 reds in the middle of the cluster, they look tricky. And he's gone straight after them. Oh, that's played very well.
That's a heck of a shot. He couldn't have wished to play that any better. He's on one of the difficult ones, and he's moved the other one up to the rest of his reds. He's played that really, really well.
Yeah, and has he got enough angle on this to come on and off the bottom cushion, or can he screw to the side cushion with a lot of reverse side? I think he's got enough angle to get back out. I think he can come off. Yeah, he's got plenty. Yeah, that would come out really well for him. And that black, even though it's in the cluster, I think it goes to the bottom right. So that first shot has given him a real good chance.
And with the almost a natural split in the table, red's top half, yellow's bottom half, I wouldn't anticipate an error. Into the double. Oh, and doesn't make it.
I think that was a good choice, though. He has just missed it, and it may end up ultimately costing him the frame. But if he doesn't take the double, he takes the pot on. He's going to end up in a situation where it's going to be very difficult to get on that red down the rail because of where the yellow was. So when you finish on the double the way he did, if he makes it, he knows he's going to win the frame. Definitely the right choice for me. Just didn't go in.
And here's Lee Warren going to punish a miss once again.
The only slight difference this time is that Jason hasn't got quite as far into the finish. In the previous frames, Jason's had 1 or 2 balls left on, and Lee's been able to pick out 2 or 3 really good snookers and then go for finishes. This time, if he misses, he's likely to leave Jason a really good chance. I say a really good chance. If he misses this ball down the rail, that black's going to be awkward, and this is tough. Oh, he is playing with some real confidence. That just flew in. What a great shot!
He makes it look so easy. It's amazing, isn't it? We saw him play in the earlier stages of the competition, and understandably he was a bit nervous and a bit shaky, but he pulled off some crazy shots to win through. And you know, we saw probably the nerviest final between him and Andy. Both of them really were suffering, and he's playing with a lot of freedom. Having said that, he has run into a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think in his first round, he did start off a little bit nervy, but you could see that he just really grew into the match, and his confidence came. You know, he sort of grew as the night went on, and then it ended up being a tense finish. But tonight he has just settled down brilliantly. Looks so confident. I think he's having a look to see if he can come cushion first and make this. I think he's going to try and make this in the left centre. I know he's just played the safety. A little bit surprised at that. Thought he was going to try and come up with something impressive, but if the white goes, if he manages to get an extra 2 inches on the white, then he's got the snooker and he's in control. So probably a good choice. I don't think he's left Jason an open pot, but for me, does that yellow go to the bottom right? If it doesn't, if the black's blocking it, then it gives Jason a little bit of freedom.
For the plan, didn't get it.
Yes, he's having a good look at it now.
I think what we do know is that if it's on, you'd imagine he'd take it on.
Yeah,
He's been fearless.
Yeah, I don't think that goes. Just it's always difficult to tell when it's that close to the black. You know, it's that close to another ball. But I'm pretty confident this doesn't go. Looks like he's eyeing up, hitting this sort of quarter ball coming off the side rail and getting down to the bottom right-hand part of the table. He caught that too thin. I think he was trying to get the white where the yellow is, and would have limited Jason's options. It's not the end of the world for him in terms of the way it's ended up though, because the yellow's blocking the obvious pocket for the black. Jason may decide to move that black or look to get right behind it into the centre, or more, probably the most likely is he's going to end up playing it as a double. He's already missed one double in this frame. It's one of those, I think, if he plays on the double, I'd be shocked if he tried to move it. It's just not, it's probably too risky. If he plays on the double, it'd be a double. If he was in his club, you'd never expect him to miss. Just the pressure of the situation. I think it's very unlikely for him to try and get behind it. If you've only got the out by an inch or two, and it's an incredibly tough shot. Be interesting to see which way he goes, though.
Yeah, well, he's got the option either way.
I'm surprised at this, but he's played that brilliantly. Brilliant shot.
Big gamble playing it that way.
Well,
It's come off for him.
if he misses it, he's got no shot, and it's not guaranteed to be right. But he played that with so much control and confidence. Any sort of full contact on that black, and he was going to leave himself a great chance. So, you know, really best shot he's played in the match, and under extreme pressure as well.
Yeah, he really needed that, Jason Remington, and fair play for him to get out the other side of that frame. This is the state of affairs then, as it stands in the Champions Cup. We've already seen Ronan McCarthy beat John McAllister earlier on by 6 frames to 1. Next week is our final week of last 16. Dave Nadinall takes on Toby Bolt, and Jack Whelan versus Craig Marsh is the other semi-final next week in Solihull. And after that, it is finals night. It is the semi-finals and the final all in one night. We've got 2 more weeks of the competition to come after this, and it only keeps getting better.
Yeah, there's a couple of great matchups next week. Both semi-finals have got, you couldn't call either of them, but I'm particularly looking forward to the Craig Marsh Jack Whelan semi-final. When the draw came out and I saw they were playing each other, that was the one that stuck out for me in the whole of the last 16.
Well, I think that expression says it all really for Lee Warren. In off the break, and it is just about the worst thing you can do off your own break. Big chance now for Jason. It's not the easiest setup for him, but you get the feeling he has to take this if he's to qualify.
Yeah, it's another sign though, things just not going nicely for him. He wanted to make the plant, he wanted to make the yellow because he wanted that out the way, and then he's going to go red. But the red that was moving has gone awkward. He's got to play out a very, very good plant now. I expect him to make it, and if he doesn't make it, he's still got some control in the frame. He's not leaving a wide open finish for Lee, so he can play it with a bit of confidence. But on another day, that red that was rolling around after his first shot would have just sat over the pocket rather than rolling that extra few inches into awkward place. But he did play it well, and now from here I fully expect him to pick out a route and make these look quite simple.
Expect so.
This is probably his last, the last tricky shot that could go wrong. It's so easy to catch these just too thick. Played very, very well.
Yeah, keyed it great, didn't he?
He wants to be careful when playing this red into the right centre. He wants to make just got to be really careful not to feather off the red that's over the pocket and nudge it up the rail. Just wants to, yeah, he just wants to be. He's got enough room, but it's just got to make sure of it. But even at this stage, you know, it's still slightly awkward from here. The yellow that's next to the red over the right centre, it's a blocker. So if he overhits this next shot, then he could end up snookering himself. If he underhits this next shot, then he could end up. Oh, sorry, I thought he was going to take the red to the top left. He's going to take the one over the centre, which obviously makes a lot more sense.
Should be now relatively straightforward for him. So an important couple of frames on the board for Jason Remington. 2 in a row. If he can pop these last two. Which you would fully expect him to. For 4-3. Yep, there it is.
That's a great finish from Jason. Really, really well controlled. A couple of really good positional shots, great plant in there, and worked it out beautifully. And the other thing I like about that finish was the reaction of his son in the crowd. Really,
Yeah, he gave it the big one, didn't he?
He did give it the big one.
Nice to see. The away fans, as it were.
Yeah.
Frame, Jason Remington to break.
Yeah, he's holding his own out there.
Going by 4 frames to 3. Sorry, mate. Body.
Could so easily be 4-4 with a good break here. Gets a ball. And he's chosen a good time to probably have his best break of the match.
Yeah, I think this is definitely his best break of the match. Definitely the best split he's had. As you said, I think this could be 4-4 very quickly. So he's got options. He's got options, probably either colour set here. Yellows are probably the easiest back end of the finish. If he can, if the yellow goes the bottom left, then I think yellows are the way. Has that yellow come out? Because if that yellow that he's just played as a plant goes to the top right, then he'll take it now. If it doesn't, then he's going to have to get back across to the right-hand side of the table, which just adds a little bit more work to his finish. It's maybe another sign the tide's turning, that in an earlier frame, I think that yellow might have stopped an inch short and not gone. This time it does go.
A very momentum-based game. It's amazing how the intangibles can all of a sudden swing one way and then the other.
I think this becomes the key shot. if he can get good, if he gets good position on his next ball from this, he wants to be straight on that one to the centre. That's almost perfect. And now he's in a situation where he needs to screw back an inch, and then it's ball rollings. Oh, I just saw that Klimt's from that angle. Maybe he's got a little bit more angle than this than I thought. If he's straight, then he can just screw straight back. He may have to take the one he's nearest to the top left first. This is why I said at the beginning of the finish that yellows at the back end of the finish are probably easier than the reds, because once you get straight onto this yellow to the corner, then it's just you drop it in, you leave the other one to the bottom right, and as long as you drop that in, you're going to leave yourself on the black. It's a fairly simple pattern.
Should be a breaking dish for Jason, which is most welcome. Very good time to do it. And one mega comeback in this tournament. It's on again. In the last 16, great play from Jason Remington, a break and a dish to tie things up, having been 3 frames down, and pick a winner now.
Well, Jason's got all the momentum, so you probably give him the edge, but Lee has 2 breaks out the 3 frames, so yeah, you can't.
He hasn't broken too well. He's had 2 dry breaks and gone in off on 1 as well. That's the biggest thing that I think needs to change for Lee. He's been really good when he's been at the table, but needs to be at the table.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he does, as I mentioned, he's got 2 of the 3 breaks if it went to a decider. So he needs to make the most of that.
Looks a little bit more like it.
Definitely, it's his time to have his best break in the match.
For sure. You just take a look at the light. Looks pretty good. And I'm going to say pretty much either colour set he's got options on. He's potting balls down the rail like it's no tomorrow, so I don't think the reds will phase him.
Yeah, if he goes reds, then it's just that one on the rail. If he goes yellows, then he's got that yellow nearest the right centre pocket, which is a bit awkward. So, yeah, I think it's reds are on balance the way to go. He does have to make 2 good balls down the rail to make this finish. With the confidence that Lee looks to have in his potting and shot-making ability, I think the key for him is if he can get decent position onto these balls down the rail, I would just back him to make them. The one pot he's missed in this match, or one of the 2 pots he's missed in this match, is where he didn't get good position on the ball down the rail. You would like that to stop an inch short, but it's okay.
Well, you can see he was already walking around to play it. He thought that was in.
Yeah, I thought that was going to drop as well. Just flip the near jaw. Sometimes when get that close to the rail, they can still just slide in, but that one stayed up. And if this yellow goes to the top left, and I think it does, then he has left a wide open table for Jason.
Could be a really big miss, that. Does just sneak in, but oh goodness me!
One free shot.
Just when you think that the tables have turned,
Wow,
Jason Remington tips it over.
that's incredible. Did not expect that. And obviously nor did Jason. Thought that was just all about the pot, make the pot win the frame. So really should be Lee's frame now. I guess the only thing that can go wrong is when he pots this red to the bottom left now. Doesn't get onto the next red, but with them both being over the pocket, it's hard to see how he doesn't do that.
Incredible. And it's such a vital frame, this as well. At 4 apiece, in the balance.
I find it amazing, the sort of mental side of the game and sport in general, in terms of if Lee had not missed that one down the rail, gone on to complete the breaking dish, Jason would be sat in his chair going, that's okay, I'm coming to the table, I'm going to get a break dish of my own. But the fact that Jason's had a chance, and he knows he should have cleared up there, he would have backed himself to clear up there, and he's made a mistake and fouled. He'll be more annoyed in his chair now than he would have been.
There we go, potting the yellow doesn't matter, it counts as a skill shot. Lee Warren is 5-4 up. He's 1 away, advancing through to the quarter-final of the Champions Cup. He so nearly was on the other side of that statement. Jason Remington should have been 1 away. A huge wasted chance for Jason. As Simon mentioned, he's got to put that to the back of his head now. Concentrate on what he can do on this next break.
Yeah, he'll just, he needs to forget the mistake he's made and try and repeat what he did on his previous break. Big split, rolled them in.
10 frame. Jason Remington to break. Trailing by 5 frames to 4. Time running.
Straight down the middle. Will be his last break in the match.
What a break that is. That's incredible.
Humdinger of a break then. Goodness me. He's potted 4 reds.
4 reds. 4 reds and he may go yellows.
Yeah. You're not a particularly big pool player yourself and you're watching at home. You're wondering why on earth. He's going yellows. Potting balls is never a... Well, not potting balls is not even a consideration to these players. And with that red on the top cushion, these yellows are lined up like a practice drill.
Yeah, it wasn't even a tricky decision, even though you may be sitting at home going, well, hang on, he's only got to make 4 pots if he goes reds. He's got 3 reds and a black, and you've got to make 8 if you go yellows. But the yellows are sitting so much better, and it's amazing how often that happens. That if you make a lot of one colour set, more often than not, it's the other colour set the easier finish.
Well, this is a training session. Couldn't be lined up better. If he's in the club, he is racking them up in about a minute for another go at a break.
Yes.
He's going to be deliberate. Got to make sure. Can't make any mistakes now.
Well, he's overhit that by probably a good 4 to 6 inches. He wanted to be straight on this to the left corner, or he would have wanted to be either straight on this to the left corner or straight on the one to the right centre. He's going to cannon into the other red, other yellow. It won't be a problem, but he has overhit it. Just that shot, when I say he's overhit it, he's now in a position where he's going to have to play a couple of good shots. I still expect him to get them, but if he gets the other shot perfect, they would have just been all roll-ins. Yeah, he's played that really nicely, but I think he would love to have been another inch to the left. If he'd had another inch of pace on that, he could have just screwed the white straight back or stunned it in and maybe come back a couple of inches. He's now got an angle where he's going to be screwing down towards the black. So, he's just going to have a slightly trickier black than he would have ideally liked. Fully expect him to make it, but you just don't want to always give yourself more work. That's why he screwed for it in the centre pocket, and again he's underhit it this time.
Well, this isn't an easy shot. Pretty tight to the cushion as well. Slightly awkward cueing. There you see Ronan McCarthy scouting the opposition.
Yeah, and this, for me, this is still all about that shot, 3-4 shots ago, where he just overhit it. He's just always been chasing it since that point.
Big shot.
Cut it.
Oh, it drops. You could hear a pin drop in this arena whilst that black was making its way towards the middle, and in the end you heard the black ball drop down the pocket. And we go to a decider.
That's a great pot under the circumstances.
Yeah, you've got to give him a huge amount of credit there. Shake of hands.
He would have known if he misses that pot, I'm out the tournament. As it turned out, actually, the way he cannoned the balls, it was going to leave it a bit awkward for Lee, but he would have had that in his mind. So to put that out of his mind and come up with a good pot like that was a great effort.
He wanted to break 5 frames or timer.
So then, Lee Warren, big break time, makes a ball. Oh, but it was never going to come out easy. Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, didn't quite get through that one as clean as he has done. His previous break was far better, but he has made a ball.
Always rather be at the table.
It's one of those deciding frame splits where there's no great finish on. It's going to be some cagey play.
I think it's an unwritten rule of pool. I really do. It really is so rare that in a decider you just see someone come out and have an easy break and dish. Never happens.
Unless you're playing them. So if that's the rule, is that if you're watching or commentating on it, it's going to be a cagey frame. If your opponent has the break in the decider, you know you're not getting a shot. Or is that just me?
The pool player's pessimism.
Yeah.
Is he going to take this on? Looking at reds, jams that one in.
Well,
now,
reds.
If he's looking at reds, obviously the one that we're instantly a little bit worried about is the one that's next to black, but also the one on the bottom cushion as well.
Yeah, the one next to the black, it's awkward because it needs to be developed, but he's got a couple of balls next to it, so developing it isn't too much of a problem. And the one on the bottom rail will go if you get on it, but he was trying to develop the one next to the black on that shot, and the cannon the yellow is thrown it all out.
I think he might have the play. Well, if he wants to keep the break going, he's got the pot to the top of the table, and that's about it. The way he's been playing, he's probably backing to make it. It looks like he's taking it on. He's thinking about it. What safety options has he got?
Well, I think he's got control of the frame with the bottom right-hand pocket, so I think he's just going to... I don't think he could see enough of that to pot it. I think he was just going to try and nudge it up towards the pocket and sort of say over to you, Jason, because he's got the bottom end of the table under a bit more control than the yellows.
No. Final frame. Jason Remington does come to the table.
Yeah, that's the first thing for Jason. He'll be just thrilled that he gets to come to the table. Now he won't care that much that his colour set is slightly behind. He just knows he gets to work now. He hasn't left. I don't think the red that goes past the black to the bottom corner, so I don't think he's left Lee a pot on here. Some sort of containing shot to the top end of the table. You don't want to risk too much at the bottom end because you've got more control down there. May look to see, may see Jason play a similar shot to before. Maybe just develop the yellow that's on the left-hand side rail. Leave the white somewhere where the yellow is. Limit Lee's options. The only problem with that shot is, and he was trying to get that yellow to be a little bit more. Possibly trying to get that to block the red at the bottom end of the table. But the problem with the way he's played it, he is leaving Lee a pot on. He's leaving Lee an open pot at the top end of the table. So if Lee chooses to be aggressive, he's got an option to do so. He may be trying to tease Lee and say, there you go, over to you. Can you make it? There isn't really a great finish on for him, so this is probably the wise choice.
Over to you.
Yeah, Jason maybe just try and take the top left pocket as we look now. Play the yellow he's nearest to, just float that down. Get that down into that area as well.
Chooses to take the middle pocket.
It is an interesting setup because normally in these sort of situations you're looking for a way of hiding the white, trying to gain an advantage, develop your balls while you're keeping your opponent at arm's length. But Jason's happy to leave Lee an opportunity for that red in open play and almost wants him to go for it because he knows how tough it is.
I think Lee's annoyed he's not got him behind that red there. If he can snooker Jason, put him in a hard one at that end of the table. Not the easiest to get out of because all the balls are quite close together.
Yeah, but one good snooker then would have been ideal.
Jason also has a tempter. He remains unmoved.
Yeah, I don't think Jason's. I think just happy to almost try and tease Lee into going for these. I like that shot from Lee. Just bump his over.
Not touching. It's not touching. Time running.
And not touching is the verdict.
Well, it's obvious that Jason's options here are limited. Can't really get white safe anywhere, so you may be trying to think, can I mess the reds up even more than they are, or force Lee to play the one over the pocket. Hate those shots. I really hate those shots.
As in playing them.
As in playing them, yeah. I mean, I would just, yeah, I'd be coming up with all sorts of other options. feel like I'm gonna, you know, play some sort of push shot or double hit or something silly. Just not a comfortable shot for me. I think Lee needs to continue the way he has so far on his frame and not think about potting this red. I think he needs to be just bump it over the pocket.
This is such a close game.
It's so difficult for either of them to earn a decent advantage through tactical play here. At some point, one of them is going to have to take the ball by the horns and go for a finish that's tricky.
Who do you have as favourite in this frame, just from the way the balls are? You just think about it as yellows versus reds and take the players out of the equation.
Well, yellows have got more chance for the finish. Sorry, reds have got more chance for the finish.
And he's gone for it.
With the way they were set up, because the red that was over the pocket was causing so many problems for Jason. But the finish for reds is so tough as well. So Jason's happy with the shot that Lee's just played.
Well, he might not be for much longer.
I think he's happy in a way, even if he would have wanted Lee to play that shot, even if Lee finishes here, because he knows that that's the way he's going to win this frame, is by teasing Lee into going for a finish. Now Lee's got to come up with a very good shot. Even if he gets on the red down the rail, it's going to be hard for him to get on the red over the top left with a way to get on the black. And he was more angle on that as well. So, well, he has a shot on. He's going to take this to the top right. White's going to come on and off the top cushion as we look. If this goes in, he'll be on the next ball.
Here we go.
Oh, I thought he'd play that with a lot of pace. That's what I was expecting, the white to travel and almost end up somewhere near the black.
Well,
that's a great pot, though.
It is a great pot. He needs 2 more for a place in the quarter-final. There it is. Oh, would you believe it? The white goes in. Incredible.
Wow.
Incredible.
It's why I thought on the previous shot that he was going to play it with more pace, because the positional side of that shot that he's just attempted was going to be very, very tough. He had to get the white to come in and out the bottom end of the table, avoid the yellow that ultimately he cannoned in off. Still unlucky to go in off, I think, but it was yeah, it was going to be a tough shot anyway. So Jason just needs to be careful. You've got to expect him to finish here. These are all there, but the key for him is making sure he has a nice angle on his last yellow, that it's all about pace control to get on that black nicely.
This match has really swung one way and then the other multiple times. A cracker.
I'd suggest that in an ideal world, Jason doesn't really want to leave the yellow on the bottom rail as his last ball. And, I don't think he's going to. I think he's got the angle here just to...
Are we going to see another twist in the tail? Or is Jason Remington going to book his place in the quarter-final of the Champions Cup? See Lee in the background, a little shake of the head.
It's not perfect. He's got to... It's a bit of a smelly angle, to be honest, because...
A smelly angle?
Smelly angle, yeah. He's got to... I don't think he can screw straight up the table, and if he's got to... Yeah, he's got to use the side rail. He's got to avoid the centre pocket. Just with the pressure of the situation, you just got to be careful here. Yeah, played very well.
Leaves himself pretty perfect on the black. It should be a formality. It's been an incredible match between these two. Jason Remington has done it again. He's come from 3 frames down to snatch a victory against Lee Warren in the last 16. What a match that was. Absolutely remarkable.
Incredible. One twist after another. Great performance from Lee Warren again, and I feel from the way he's going to go out this tournament, but it's been brilliant watching him up to this point. But you've got to say well played to Jason. He was really up against it at 4-1, had to fight hard and sort of really grew into the match and looked very strong at the end there.
We will see our final tonight, and it contains Jason Remington versus Ronan McCarthy. We bid farewell to Lee Warren. What a tournament from the man from Solihull. We will speak to our winner, Jason Remington, and we'll have our final after the break.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing. The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
Welcome back to Solihull, a dramatic semi-final, joined by our winner Jason Remington. A huge congratulations on making it through. There must have been quite a few points there where you thought you might not be able to.
Yeah, it was a strange match, a game of two halves if you like, really. Started off well all over the place really. Ended up taking that first frame out. I don't know how I took that first frame out. I had a white ball on like an 8-foot piece of string, but Lee started playing the middle of the match. He started just rolling balls in with ease and playing with side like he was just having a practice. But I couldn't put any pressure on him. But he luckily at 4-1 down, luckily I got a couple of breaking dishes and got myself back into the game. Because all I had to do was try and get some pressure on him because he was just free rolling. So yeah, it was a bit of a strange game.
Was it a strange one for you as well? Because I know in your first round where you had Jordan in the final, you were naturally the underdog against a player who's ranked really highly. Very much the favourite coming into this. Did you feel that, or did it affect you in any way?
No, not really. I just play the balls. I never play the player. I mean, it's easy to say that, and some people say, nah, I don't believe you, but I just play the balls because it doesn't matter. I look at it when you're at the table. It doesn't matter who you're playing. It doesn't matter who sat in that chair. It could be Ron O'Sullivan. They can't get to the table if you're at the table. So I just play the balls. But tonight I just struggled with my focus a little bit at the beginning of the game, and it made me pay for that, which is what you'd expect at this level.
Ronan McCarthy in tonight's final, a player that's been in fantastic form. What are you expecting from the match? And have you got any past memories that you can look back on and think, I've done all right there. I've got high hopes.
Not particularly. No, I think last time I played Ronan, he beat me 8-7, and it was an Icelandic game. I think it was in Wales a couple of years ago. So I ain't playing for a while. But no, he's a class player. He's a gent of the game. He's a living legend of the game, really. So you're always going to get a tough game against Ronan. So I'm looking forward to playing. Hopefully I can start playing like I know I can play and not relying on a bit of luck to get me through in the end. But yeah, it should be a good game.
Well, we can't wait to watch it. Best of luck. Congratulations on making it.
Cheers. Thank you.
And here is how Jason got there. Well, a remarkable game. Really remarkable game between two very good players. And you could say that really about both semi-finals, actually, in very different ways. Ronan McCarthy 6-1 his win over John McAllister. And Lee Warren loses 5-6 to Jason Remington. Sad to see John and Lee leave us from the Champions Cup. They're given so much. But the final tonight should be a belter. Ronan McCarthy, who, as Jason rightly said, was a living legend of the game, really.
No, he really is. And, you know, he's even into, what did he say earlier on, 30 years of playing, he's, you know, he's still at the very, very top. And he'll start a nice favourite for this game. Jason's going to have to play very well. He's more than capable of beating him, but the form that Ronan showed in his semi-final, he's going to have to play very well.
Jason was just speaking to me before our interview, saying he's feeling like he's playing very, very well. In the last few weeks, he's been potting balls off lampshades was the phrase he used, which I'd never heard before, but I'll certainly be using again.
Yeah, it's a pretty common phrase in the pool world. I'm surprised you've not heard that one
No,
before.
I genuinely hadn't come across it.
Yeah, I don't really know what it means, other than you're potting well, but it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, no, Jason, he didn't really miss anything in his first match. He just had tough finishes to go for. Early on in the match, everything he went for was tricky and was running into problems. He wasn't missing open balls or anything like that.
Looks like it's Ronan who's going to be breaking first, and man from Northern Ireland, who lovely moment actually. Didn't get to mention it before, but said on his interview it's the very first time his mother had watched him play, which I thought was a lovely moment.
Yeah, that's incredible to think that, to be honest. But that was great.
And we hope the McCarthy clan are enjoying this tournament so far. I'm sure they are. They've only ever seen Ronan play exceptionally well.
Yeah, well, that's the only way he plays. But I think the thing for me with Ronan is the fact that he's achieved nearly everything in the game, been at the very top for so long. But as I've got to know him a little bit over the last couple of years, you know it still means so much to him. When he does still win, it's a very emotional time for him, and it means a lot. And I think that's great to see that.
First break of the quarter-final then is going to come up dry, I think. A quick tot of all the balls. Yeah, I think we've got a dry break to start with.
Yeah, a few scared the pocket, but nothing's fallen. But it's a messy table for Jason to go at. The black's awkward. He goes. He can't. I was going to say he can't really go yellows. A couple of big problems on the bottom right. So he could go yellows, but it'd be tricky. If he goes reds, then that black's a real problem, and a couple at the bottom end of the table are a problem.
No easy start. He's used his extension, which is not surprising, and we've seen a few times throughout this tournament time that quite often being in the second semi-final and winning it can give you a little bit of momentum heading into the final. There's been a few occasions where for example, the seed who's played the first semi-final has won through comfortably. Second semi's been really close, been really tight, and there just seems to be the element of they're fully in the game, and the first player comes in a little cold.
Yeah, I think it can go one of two ways. It can either you could just continue. You know, you're on a high. You've just won. You've played well. You just continue on. You just on to the next match, next frame. But you can go the other way, that you could be, maybe too high. You need to reset. Remember, you're back at 0-all. And I don't think there's any element. We haven't really seen it from a player that's had to sit around for an hour and a half, 2 hours waiting for the next match. I don't see Ronan getting cold or anything like that. So, but it may play a factor in this match. Jason's going for the finish here, but he might be better advised. No, he has gone for the safety, just taking that pocket, because you couldn't see how you could develop the reds, but then you need a couple of things to go your way to have a finish in such a way that you can get good on that black. Best case scenario, you get a double on it. He's played that in such a way that there's nothing for Ronan. Clever shot from Jason, just trying to get more balls into the bottom right area of the table. He's got that pocket sewn up. Is Ronan eyeing up a skill shot? Take control of this frame. He may just dump the yellow on top of the red. No, just getting it out.
He's going to gradually divide the table in two.
Yeah, Jason's going to try and mess up yellows, and Ronan's going to try and develop them.
We're too far away from seeing one of these two go for a finish.
Jason's going to be really disappointed with that. He's got the yellow out. He would have rather have kept that yellow in the bottom end of the table, but worse than that, if he does want to go for a finish, that black is now very difficult to double. I don't think, well, it definitely doesn't double in the middle, and I don't think he'll be able to see enough of it double into the corner. So it just makes his eventual finish, if he goes for one, harder.
Now, Ronan McCarthy can probably say most of his balls in a pocket. Getting close to the tipping point, I think, here.
Yeah, I think if we continue along these lines, I think eventually Ronan's going to end up within shot to win this frame. So you may end up seeing Jason go, well, I'm going to go for it then. If you're losing the tactical battle, then sometimes you decide to push the boat out and go for a tough finish. He has an angle now where he can pop the red into the left centre, come off the top cushion and fly into that black, try and make something happen. I don't think you can win the frame without developing the black, so why not do it early?
It's something. Played a really good shot there. Be perhaps a touch frustrated that the black hasn't moved further away from the cushion, but
Yeah, just caught the side cushion first and caught the black thin. He wanted to catch the black full, and it would have got a bit more movement on it. It has opened up in such that he will now be able to double it if he gets that far. I don't think it goes past the yellow or off the yellow to the top right. I don't think there's a way of making that. It'd be tricky to even get to a position where he could double the black. Leaving the red on the rail till your last ball, getting from that to you want to be somewhere in the top half of the table, well, it's going to be tough. Well, it looks like he is lining up the black, playing the black off the yellow somehow. Doesn't look like that's an option. To me, it doesn't look like that goes, but maybe he thinks it can.
I think he has to go this way. Well, it has to be the shot he's going to play.
So I think if he plays it into the yellow on the sort of almost full, he's got maybe got a chance, but it looks like he'd be catching the near jaw. I don't know whether to me, it doesn't look like he could squeeze this in, but well, he's not. I think he's trying to double it somehow. I don't know. It was the double.
In our first match, we did see Jason Remington have a fair few chances. Broke down late on and lost frames like this. And he mentioned in his interview he never really thinks about who he's playing. You play the balls, not the player. But that logic of it doesn't matter who you're playing when you're at the table does fly out the window when you miss chances and give opportunities to your opponent.
Yeah,
Probably the last person you'd want to give these sort of chances to is Ronan McCarthy.
Yeah, he's as good as it gets from most situations, but when you miss your last ball, I think I've been watching Ronan for a long time, and I think I've seen him not win a frame like this once. He's just so clinical. But it's as the Jason started his first match. He's gone for a finish that's tough and come unstuck at the end, making the game easy or easier for your opponent. You don't really want to do that. But I think he was in this situation after he was losing the tactical battle, so it was probably the right choice to try and push the bat out and go for a finish, and just wasn't able to find a way of making that black.
And McCarthy takes out first frame, and we can remind ourselves of how he's been playing in recent months or so on the IPA tour. Winner of the British Open in October last year, won the Welsh Professional in February as well.
Yeah, he's just so consistent at the back end of every tournament. It feels like he's in the back end of every tournament. Will be disappointed with his form since winning the Welsh Professional, and especially the way he won it, because he was exceptional in that tournament. But yeah, he's there or thereabouts. Just so consistent. You never really see him play badly.
So a couple down then for Jason Remington, who had mixed fortunes with the break, had some very good ones and had a couple of not so good ones, but that definitely falls under the first category. A good spread, and looks pretty handy.
Yeah, his last two breaks in that match, in the first match, he broke dish, and the second one in particular, the break was just unbelievable. He made 4 reds and left real nice split on the yellows and rolled them in, and it looks like he's continuing in that form, because this was another really big break. He's got a little bit of work here, but if he makes this plant, then they should all open up nicely for him. I think we might see him play the plant and look to maybe just screw back, then take the 2 at the top end of the table, and then come back down the table where the black is. Controlled that shot very nicely. Made it look like it was an easy plant, but so easy to get that shot wrong. Still needs a nice pot to the top right. But then from there, it should be a nice routine finish for him. Looks a little bit straight on this yellow to the centre. I think he would, in an ideal world, he would like to have had just a bit more angle so that he could play on the yellow that's nearest the sort of triangle area next. He would love to be able to get on that one next if he can. He could. He had just enough angle to stun across for it.
Another player who has a very moody demeanour around the table, similar to John McAllister, we were talking about in our first semi-final tonight. Never really gives a lot away. Poker face. But, actually a very jovial fella off the table.
Yeah, Jason's a lovely fellow. It gives that very focused demeanour on the table, off the table. really nice fella.
So this for 1-1 then. Nicely done. And absolutely nothing that Ronan McCarthy can do about that one. That is a very satisfying break and dish for Jason Remington. Remind ourselves what he's been up to of late. Up to the quarters of the IPA Senior World Championship. An unlucky draw in the Worlds. He did get to the final of the British Professional, the same event that Ronan won. And he's been in good form, I think, generally speaking. As I mentioned, he said in his interview he's been playing particularly well in this last couple of weeks. He's feeling in good nick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Jason's a fantastic player. Gets to he's won to win. Once you get to the level where you can win events on the IPA tour, then you know it must give you so much confidence and the belief that if you play well, you win. And that's the level he's got himself to. No surprise to see him at this stage of the tournament at all.
Oh well, Ronan's break troubles continue. He was dry in break 1. He's gone in off in break 2. He's only dropped 2 frames in the entire tournament so far, and both of those he couldn't really do an awful lot about. This one though would have to go down as all his own fault.
Yeah, he really mishit that break. Caught that really poorly. Said in his first match that the breaks is without question the weakest part of his game, but I felt, having watched him over the last couple of years, that the break's as good as it's been, certainly since I've been watching him. But that was a bit more back to the sort of way he was breaking over a year ago, where it's just didn't get good connection at all. I wonder whether the red has just got in the way. The red and yellow that are together there near the cue ball, whether that yellow still goes. The way he's played that suggests it probably does. I thought the red might have just got in the way and caused him a problem. But everything's got a pocket, he's just got to play pretty precise positional play.
Yeah, that was what he did struggle with against Lee in the semi-final tonight. He maybe used the, correct me, can't remember if it was actually on or off the record now. It felt like the cue ball was on an 8-foot piece of string, and put it to him that it was similar to the first semi-final in that with John McAllister. It seemed like everything that he was doing was very, very hard work, and it seemed to be similar for him. And he said, yeah, it felt like tremendously tough work whenever he got to the table. And Lee was playing with such freedom and confidence that he couldn't put pressure on him.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair assessment. Nothing came easy at all, certainly at the beginning of that match. He would like to have had a bit more angle on this yellow to the centre. I think he wants to, I think ideally he'd like to get the white out. If he's straight on this, he can't do too much with it. Not sure. He may be able to play top through and play for the yellow into the top centre as we look now. It's a little bit tricky. If he is playing the one to the centre pocket, then it's not a full pocket, and if he's playing the one back to the, well, either of the top pockets, it's a tricky pot.
Oh, wiped its feet.
Needs that white to bounce. It hasn't. It's a good pot, but the positional side's not quite there. If he takes the one to the centre pocket, then he's going to cannon into the red and yellow, and he loses a lot of control. And from where he is there, you can see if he plays the one to the corner, he can't get on the other yellow. So if that white bounces 6 inches off the cushion, it's less of a problem.
This will take a very, very good shot. Either way, whatever he chooses, nothing is not difficult.
Yeah, I think he's possibly forced into taking the yellow into the centre and trusting a bit to luck.
How's your luck?
It's not bad. I think that's okay.
Can he see it? That's the question. Might have to put a touch of swerve on it, but I think he's all right. Oh, it's close.
Yeah, definitely needs to swerve this. From the overhead, it looked like he can just see the edge of it, but I think he needs to play quite a decent sized swerve on this. Yeah, he's raising the cue, raising the butt of the cue.
Oh, not quite. Not quite. It's a tough shot. Really difficult to judge a swerve shot like that. He just caused it too thin. He ended up actually double kissing it. He caught it that thin.
So it's a similar story to the first frame. Gets
Just about to say, yeah.
yeah, he gets one away from winning the frame. It's very similar start to the semi-final as well. And it's such a fine line as well. When he was 3 or 4 balls out in that previous visit, if he's got half an inch of angle, he can come on and off the cushion, or he can move the white around. But from where he was limited to just dropping it in and leaving the white where the yellow was, and from there he just ran further and further out of position to the point where he was snookered.
At the risk of a little bit of deja vu, can't offer these chances to Ronan McCarthy.
No, you can't, but he hasn't quite got the white where he wants it yet. Hasn't quite got it under control. He has now. Now he's perfect. That was a great shot.
He also had the comfort really knowing that even if that didn't drop, it wasn't the end of the world for him. I think is always such a difference with shots like that.
Yeah, if you can take the pressure off the shot, you know you're not leaving a chance if you miss, and it definitely helps. It's nice to watch, you know, try and learn from Ronan when you're watching him, and he spent a bit longer on the first couple of 3 shots to work out where his problems lie, what did he need to do, because it wasn't, you know, a wide open run. He had to, you know, just make the first shots, you know, sensible and the right choices, and once he was 2-3 pots in, then he just sped up and they were just roll-ins from there. Once he's worked out, you know, once he's got himself perfect, it was simple for him.
2-1 then to Ronan McCarthy, and you can see there a reminder he's only dropped now 2 frames in the entire tournament. When you consider one of those games against John McAllister, one of the best around, it is a really remarkable stat, that.
Yeah. Has he missed a pot in the whole tournament? Has he made a mistake in the tournament yet? He's been in just incredible form.
Well, he's not really made a mistake that I think's been punished. A couple of mistakes in this game that he's really got away with. Broke dry in frame 1, went in off in frame 3, but he's ended up winning both of those frames. Jason broken dished on his last break, and we want you to do the same again, but despite having a good spread, he has come up with nothing.
So it's the first frame in this final where Ronan gets the first opportunity. Let's see if he can work out a pattern and a way of getting the frame one. Looks like he's eyeing up yellows. If he goes yellows, the only problem ball's the black. Everything else is fairly simple with yellows. I wonder if he's playing this yellow off the bottom cushion, off the red. No, I don't know. Maybe he is playing that shot, but it doesn't look like he's on from the overhead. It was great shot. Just be annoyed that he's semi-tied up one of the yellows, but I think he'll still be able to get on that into the centre pocket. Such a clever choice of shot from Ronan. Yeah, I think this camera angle shows that yellow definitely goes into the centre pocket. Red's not hampering it too much at all.
Makes tricky shots look very, very simple. Just that air of security, isn't it? Never ever feel like he's going to miss, and I know that we're sat here thinking it, then think you anything you like, that Jason Remington sat in his chair thinking it as well.
Yeah, it's just very, very impressive. Just makes the game look very, very simple, and it isn't, but he makes it look like it is.
No, I can confirm it isn't. Yeah, magnificent stuff again from Ronan McCarthy. We remind ourselves of Jason Remington's rounds now. He hasn't made it look easy in any of his games. He's done it the hard way. I did do Michael Rhodes a bit of a disservice earlier on. I do apologise. It was he who was well up, or well down, should I say, in that match. It was Jason who had the 5 frames on the board early on. Michael made the comeback. I do apologise, Michael. And only for Jason to get over the line in the decider. But even against Jordan, tough game, and we just saw that game there. He really has had to work very hard in all of his matches.
No, he has, yeah. 6-5, 6-4, 6-5. He's working a lot harder when you think that Ronan's done 6-0, 6-0, 6-1. He won't care because he's winning, and it won't want to be 3-1 down. But he knows he's capable of coming back from that position because he's done it previously tonight.
That white very nearly went in, but it stayed out, and the first time in 3 breaks, Ronan McCarthy is at the table with a ball down off his own break. And
It's all about the first shot. If he makes this first shot, and of course he does, then everything has a pocket, everything's open.
yeah, one of those tables where it sort of looks a little bit more congested than it is, but you're right, everything has a pocket, and a few people around with better cue ball control than Ronan McCarthy. This is the sort of break that you really do expect him to mop up.
Yeah, he just needs to be careful. For me, you just got to be careful when you get on the one next to the yellow, the sort of in between the yellow and black. You want to possibly leave that for your last ball. Possibly not. Depends which way he goes, but it's long as you get good on that one, everything else should be fine.
Well, it's going to be 4-1 here, I think, in no time at all. This is the key shot. He looks like he's fine. Might have wanted a touch more on it, but you can see there he's pretty good. In it goes. Simple black now. And he really does make it look so easy at times. Clinic from Ronan McCarthy in that frame there. And he will head into the break with a big advantage as he leads 4 frames to 1. We'll take a look now at the stats just before we do head into that break, and you can see Jason has had chances in 2 of the matches that 2 frames that Ronan has won. They've come off the back of missed Jason chances, and whilst they've been difficult, those are the chances that he's going to have to take in the second half of this match.
Yeah, absolutely. He had first visit on the first 3 frames and only managed to take 1 of them. You can see that with the balls potted. He's twice he's got down to the last ball or the black and not been able to get the job done. And Ronan has not made a mistake in this match yet.
He hasn't, and we will see if he does in the second half of this one. I wouldn't get your hopes up, but we'll see how it goes. It should be a good finish. Ronan McCarthy versus Jason Remington resumes after the break.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing. The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
And welcome back for the final action here tonight in the IPA Freesports Champions Cup. Ronan McCarthy taking on Jason Rimington in tonight's final, the competition's quarter-final. Stephen Jameson and Simon Webb with you. Guide you through the action tonight. And as we take a look there, that is a solid enough break. Jason, he's got a ball, red gone down. And he needs to start, we're discussing this just off air actually, Simon. He needs to start taking these difficult chances. It's not easy, but he has to start taking the chances that are there for him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's getting chances. He's getting a lot of first visits. Just hasn't been able to take enough of them. He's not missing much. He's just always got work to do. He just can't get a clean run to the line, and this is sort of highlights that in terms of he's got a bad ball that he needs to solve, and he hasn't been able to in previous frames. Mr. White.
There it goes, and that could be a really crucial error.
Yeah, just the way those balls were lined up on the bottom rail, that was always a chance of that happening. He needed to catch that full or on the other side of the ball. Oh, he's a touch fortunate there, Ronan. He wasn't trying to catch the ball up the rail. He wanted to play that down the rail and catch the one nearest the pocket. So to catch the higher one and still be able to get the ball to go, he's a touch fortunate.
Does have that feel of, not that remotely Ronan isn't earning it, but it is, he's having the luck and Jason isn't having a lot of it.
Well,
not that he's needed it particularly, but he's having the run of the ball when he's...
Yeah, you can say that he's definitely had the easier of the chances, but then he's having the chances when Jason's missed or Jason's run out of position or not being able to work out a finish. So he's had a couple of chances where he's just mopped up. But there is something in what you say in terms of players like Ronan. When they play well, you feel like they get easy chances every time.
Now then.
But they don't. They just make it look like they're getting easy chances because they make the game look so easy. But that was a surprise.
Yeah, looking at Ronan's face, that's definitely a missed pot. First thing I think when someone like Ronan misses is, did he mean to? Because he's that good. But I think that has to go down as a miss, looking at his expression.
Yeah, that's just a slightly careless one, maybe worrying about the white a little bit too much because he knew it was cannoning into other balls.
Well, this has to go, you feel, for Jason Rimington if he's to succeed in this final. It's a good chance to lay down a marker to Ronan.
Yeah, you have to punish mistakes. When your opponent's playing this well, you have to punish the mistakes and really, hurt them. Being on the rail makes this awkward because if he takes the nearest yellow of the two, I think he's going, the angle he's got on it, I don't think he can stay on the other yellow. If he takes the left-hand yellow of the two, the other yellow doesn't go to the bottom right and you can't get back across for that yellow. So, yeah, slightly awkward here already. Having to take the outside one of the two and then come back down the table, so there's mileage in this finish. That yellow by the black, from the main camera, looked fairly... didn't look like a problem, but when you see the overhead, that yellow doesn't really have a pocket.
think he was trying to disturb it.
Yeah, I think he was.
And in doing that, he has missed the pot. Have to punish mistakes. That's what he would have told himself when he came to the table. Because it's not often that you get chances gifted to you by Ronan McCarthy. It is a blue moon that you get given them twice.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Ronan stopped in his tracks then. He thought he'd overhit that positional shot, but he's actually he's okay. Unless these two reds plant into the centre, and I don't think they do, he needs to play this next shot with a fair bit of pace to try and get the white high onto one of those two reds to the bottom left. This isn't a perfect angle for him. May have to screw back, take one of the reds into the centre. Needs to avoid the yellow if he goes that way. And he plays that perfectly. It's not the best angle. He had a bit too much angle on that previous shot. Would have liked to have just been able to just screw straight back, but he's now got to move the white round a little bit to get onto this black into the top left. Needs to avoid the yellow, the bottom end of the table again. I think the natural angle is avoiding the in-off, but it's going to be close.
Was close. And that is a potentially big error mentioned just a couple of moments ago. Blue moon that you get two mistakes, and we might be witnessing it. What do you do from here?
Well, he's got a double option, or he could probably cut this back if he wants to. So, but whichever way he goes, it's very, very tough. The double, and this is very close.
Anxious wait, it doesn't drop. He made a couple of those in the first game against John McAllister. He mentioned the only two sloppy shots that he played against John, he was able to get out of them by playing long doubles. And that time, it couldn't quite come to his aid.
He's finished. He's left the balls in a horrible place for Jason. Yeah, he's left him a pot to the top right. But if he's straight on this, I think he is, then it's difficult to get on the next ball. Oh, he's off straight the wrong way. He needs to play a very, very good shot here.
Is he even tempted to cut it?
If he takes it into the centre, it's tricky as well. He may have to take this into the long pocket and stun across, yeah. And that's played very, very well. That's perfect.
Terrific shot.
He's got just enough angle that this is just really nice, just punch this up the table. That previous shot, really, under the pressure he was under, 4-1 down, have been given a couple of chances in this frame. That was a very, very good pot.
Well, this could scarcely get more routine. And it is 4-2. Big frame for Jason to win that.
Yeah, huge frame. He's made a mistake in it as well, which, you know, Ronan's had 2 bites at the cherry and still hasn't managed to get it done. So can that turn the momentum and turn this match Jason's way?
Reminder of who they're looking to join. The first semi-final is already set. Scott Gillespie against Liam Dunster, an all-Scottish affair after Liam overtook Gavin Robinson, as well as Mark Pickworth and Drew Hughes in the semi-finals, in the quarter-finals I should say, last week in Chester. Our opening knockout games saw Simon Ward, Mark Farnsworth, all at the hands of Scott Gillespie. One of these two will join them. Who will it be? And after that break...
Well,
Not guaranteed to be Ronan.
No, if the yellow and red plant into the right centre, then reds are a good chance here. They look like they're set to the jaw, but I don't know if there's enough gap between them that he could make the plant. If not, he's got some work to do on yellows. And that's gone very badly for him. Blocked off one of the yellows that did go. Hasn't developed one of the ones that don't. Going to be in for a tactical battle here, I think. Can't see him continuing the finish. No, just hide behind this yellow. He's got the total snooker. Should be a fairly simple hit for Ronan. He's got to be careful not to go in off the red. That's okay. I think we could see this is similar to the, I don't remember which frame, the first or second frame, where I think Ronan's in charge of this tactical battle, and I think the longer the tactical battle goes on, the more in charge of it he's going to become.
Yeah, first frame.
So you know, unless Jason can find a way of turning that round, maybe getting himself in front in this tactical battle, which he's trying here to get that yellow in, and he has. So he has turned it round.
That's a great shot.
That's an incredibly good shot from Jason. He's really, I was only 30 seconds ago saying how Reds were looking like they were going to go ahead in this tactical battle, and now Reds are a mile behind. Jason's going to be looking to try and develop some of his balls whilst he's got control of this bottom end of the table. Looking for ways to nudge a yellow out, get the. He's got three bad yellows there. He wants to try and work a way of getting those to come out. Tricky to do that off this shot.
Shot clock ticking. And that was a little bit more planned than it perhaps looked.
Yeah, he knew that was a 3-ball plant onto one of his yellows, so he's played it with enough pace to get that out. Was possibly hoping for 2 of them to come out, and it sort of half has. He now only really has one really bad yellow, but he has left Ronan a skill shot.
Brilliant. Brilliantly done. Turns the frame entirely on its head.
Yeah, it was a slightly risky shot from Jason. When you're playing a player of Ronan's class, that you feel like if you give him an opportunity, he's going to find a way of producing that skill shot to change the frame around. Possibly in hindsight, he might decide that the better way to go maybe is trying to just play off one of the other yellows and get the white into the top half of the table, but he was just really keen to try and develop a bad ball or two to give himself a chance for this frame in a few visits' time. It's gone against him this time. Now Ronan still has a problem with the red at the top end of the table, but it's in a pretty nice position for the double. He's gone straight up for that double as well.
Never in doubt.
It's another thing that great players do. They're always straight after their identify and attack their hardest ball straight away. once Ronan's made that skill shot, he knew that the biggest stumbling block for him was that red at the top of the table. First opportunity, straight up there, straight for the double.
Now his shot from the last red to the black is an important one. And it looks like he's going to save the one over the pocket to his last red.
Yeah, that was trickier than it looked actually. If he'd taken the one over the pocket, even if he could hold, he was going to be holding but leaving the red to the centre with a bad angle to get on the black. So he had to play it that way. But you can see how close he is to overrunning the white and leaving himself snookered. It was a really delicate shot into the middle, and he played it very, very well.
Yeah, made that look maybe a lot simpler than perhaps it was. And Ronan McCarthy therefore moves to one away from a place in the semi-finals.
Yeah, Jason took a calculated risk there, trying to develop a couple of bad balls, and felt he had control of the frame, but a really classy shot from Ronan and a smooth finish afterwards, and it's gone against him this time.
Well, the whole concept of this competition seems to be one that's been really enjoyed by the players, and by its very nature, the Champions Cup, if it's got a semi-finals of Ronan McCarthy, Liam Dunster and Scott Gillespie, you're not complaining in terms of quality, are you?
No, fantastic lineup so far. And who will join them?
And don't rule out this man just yet, by the way. He'd be perfectly at home in that company as well.
Jason's biggest problem is going to be limiting Ronan's chances. He's going to get Ronan's. You feel like Ronan's going to take. Oh, he has been taking nearly every chance he gets. So
what a break, by the way.
He's going to need a bit of help to get back in this match. You feel?
He did this in the semi-final when he just crunched in a break and took out 4 reds, 3 on this occasion. But it's maybe not come out as kindly as he might have hoped. He's got a little bit of a sticky area by the baulk line.
Yeah, this is he deserved better. The break deserved better, that's for certain. He's it's not the nicest split for him. I think he's more than likely going to go yellows. He's going to have to cannon into the little cluster of red and yellow, develop those. Not sure there's a way of really playing those without developing them. You could possibly get behind one of them to the centre and then the other one goes to the top centre, but you're really acute angles and you've got to be very, very precise. I think he's probably going to be looking for an angle to get into them. He can do it now, I think. Okay, he felt he could get to the potting angle of this yellow. That helps. Makes quite a big difference actually, and he's controlled the pace of that really, really well.
He's dropped that in just about perfect, hasn't he?
Looks like he can pop this and just screw back and flick the other one into open play as well. Well, that's how it looks from the overhead, but then this camera looks a little bit too tight. It doesn't look like he can. It looks like he's underhit onto it.
Plan B. Oh no.
Threw his cue at that one a little bit. That wasn't the normal Jason Remington smooth cueing action.
Could be his last shot. Which he'd be really disappointed with because it wasn't a good one.
Yeah, Ronan's got the one bad ball to work out. Not sure he can avoid the yellow on the left-hand side to get into it now. Oh, he could. He's tried. Not quite. Not the worst result for him though. I think he's looking at the double. Looks tight. If he doesn't like the double, he can play the red. it's over the pocket and then screw into the cluster, but you're not guaranteed to be left on the next red. If the double goes, then it's the shot, but it does look tight.
And a reminder, you're staying up late to watch this with us. We won't be going anywhere. We will be with this till its conclusion on Freesports. We are slightly over time, I think largely due to that epic second semi-final between Lee Warren and Jason Remington, which went the distance. But we will be staying with the action here until its conclusion. Now he got the flick off the yellow. It's not going to go in the bottom corner, and Jason Remington might be looking to keep us all up a little bit later here.
Yeah, I said it was tight, and it was. He did get the flick on the yellow. Jason really needs to work this out to have any chance in this match. And the way the red's come out, it's gone towards a pocket, so he doesn't take these out. You'd fully expect Ronan to win the frame next visit, so what can he come up with? He's got two yellows on the side rail, the one yellow on the top rail, so it's not overly inviting. He may decide just to nudge this yellow across and take the pocket rather than go for the finish. It's slightly risky because he'll probably be leaving Ronan a shot on a red to the centre, and then you've only got the one skill shot potential.
He's going for it.
I think probably the right choice, just not quite the cannon he wanted. It's a great pot. I didn't think that was going to drop.
No, the pockets have not been very kind tonight to a few players, and I must admit that, well, it was invited in and stayed on the doorstep for an awful long time.
Jason's played to move that yellow, but he's actually finished okay. He's finished really comfortably on this double.
Yeah. Actually come up very nicely for him. Has to get it. Straight in the heart of it. He's left himself a pretty difficult black, but it's there for him. And to stay in the match and the tournament. Nails it.
That was a absolutely brilliant finish. I said before he started he needed to make that to stay in the match, obviously, but he didn't feel there was any way of playing it, controlling it, and he's gone two balls on a cushion, two balls on a side rail, one on the top rail, having to move the white all over the place. Brilliant finish.
Reminder of what we've got coming up next week. Another brilliant set of fixtures in store in the last 16. Dave Nadnall takes on Toby Bolt. Jack Whelan against Craig Marsh, a match that Simon's really looking forward to, and I am as well. And you should be at home. Two former world champions coming head to head in the Champions Cup.
Yeah, that does promise to be an absolute cracker, that one. And I've got a sneaky feeling the winner of that match could go on to win the tournament, just the way they played in the previous round.
Running with the break then, of course, with the nature of Jason having his back to the wall. There's still a good chance, even with that brilliant clearance, that he may well have played his final shot. It's the very nature of the sport.
Yeah, I don't think, when you get 5-2 down against a player playing at the level that Ronan is, you do need some help from your opponent, because it's hard for them not to get, at least a couple of chances to win the match. In this split that Ronan's been given, he was a bit similar to a previous break and finish he had, but they've opened up so nicely. He doesn't have to develop anything, he just has to work the white round the table, and he is an absolute master at that. I think he would have liked another couple of inches on that shot. Not sure if he was playing on the yellow to the left centre or not, but I think he would have preferred to be, even if he wasn't, he would have liked to be a little bit further down the table. Not a problem, but maybe a reroute.
Wants a little bit more time to think this one over. He never ever allow himself almost the chance to make a mistake. We'll always double check.
Yeah, he just wanted to. You want to be as straight as possible on this yellow to the centre, but the straighter you get to it, the more chance you have of being snookered by the red. So just double checking it, making sure.
Should be all over. Punches it in, leaves himself the simplest black into the middle pocket, and Ronan McCarthy secures his place in the Champions Cup semi-final at the expense of gallant Jason Rimington, who gave his all tonight, had one brilliant win in the semi-final, did it the hard way, and really had to work exceptionally hard in both matches against some bit of tough luck, and a very good performance from Jason, but ultimately not enough to beat Ronan on this kind of form.
No, it was another incredibly high-level performance from Ronan McCarthy. He had that one frame where he had a couple of mistakes, and other than that, I think that's possibly the only, well, it's definitely the only mistakes he's made all night. He just looked in just supreme form again. He's going to be a tough act to beat in the final.
He will indeed. He joins Liam Dunster and Scott Gillespie, and we will hear from Ronan McCarthy after the break.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing. The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
Welcome back to Solihull. Another wonderful night of pool and another wonderful performance from Ronan McCarthy. Ronan, congratulations on making it through. Describe your emotions for us.
Just delighted to play well. I'd one really bad frame there, and where I missed 2 chances. Apart from that, I don't really think I missed anything. So you have to be happy with that. And against these boys, you have to play like that, because if you don't, they're going to punish you. So yeah, I'm just happy to be through, and it's a good lineup here. There's 2 Scottish lads and an Irish lad. So what's happened to these 3 Lions?
Well, we have got the chance of it being an all-international affair in the finals next week. Will you be tuning into that and seeing who your potential opponent's going to be?
Do I play the winner next week? Yeah, well, I'll probably have a look at it. Yeah, I'll have a look and see. But once you get there, you know it's going to be a hard match. It doesn't matter who you're playing. They're all top class. I know Liam and Scott are through, so it doesn't matter who you play. You have to play well to beat them. Simple.
And it's competition that I know from speaking to you all the way back in week 2 that you enjoyed the concept of. Now you've had 2 full nights of it and watched a lot of it as well. How much are you enjoying being a part of the Champions Cup?
It's great. It's great to be a part of, and like I said, it's great to go on and play well, because there's nothing as bad as going on and struggling really bad, and then a lot of people winding you up at home, and saying, "What are you doing playing on TV?" and stuff. So I'm just glad I played well, and one more night. I hope we can keep the performances up and maybe win it. You never know.
We never know. I'm sure the viewing figures in Northern Ireland have been absolutely huge for you. I know you've a big following back there. What's your message then tonight?
I'm just glad my mum was watching, because like I said, it's 30 years I've been playing pool and she's never seen me play, so I'm just glad I won for her, because she'll be so excited. So all good.
All the stories are true. Hey, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you in the semi-finals.
Cheers, Matt. Thank you.
And a reminder of just how we got there. Well, terrific performance from Ronan McCarthy. As Simon put it to him just before we went live on the interview, he had one sloppy frame. He's slipping. But in all seriousness, that was a tremendous performance from the man from Northern Ireland. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage again tonight. It has been another wonderful night of pool on Freesports, and we have one more for you before finals night. The last 16, Group 4, is live from Solihull next week. Same time, David Adenall takes on Toby Bolt, and the battle of the former world champions, Jack Whelan against Craig Marsh. It should be another belter, and we will know our lineup for finals night at the end of it. We hope to see you then from everyone here in Solihull from week 19 of the Champions Cup. Good night.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.